This is the Above Average Podcast, and you are listening because you want an above average life.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Above Average Podcast, the podcast where we talk to above average people about their above average lives. Now, I'm super excited to have my guest on today. He's someone that I've followed for numerous years now, probably about 5 years I think I've followed you now, mate. And I've always been inspired and I've always admired his attitude, his dedication, not to mention his crazy sized arms. He's a former DJ turned pro bodybuilder, TV star, author and model with over 1.3 million Instagram followers and 12 million views on his YouTube channel. Please welcome Mr Biceps himself, Zac Aynsley, to the show. How you doing, mate?
Thank you.
So this is obviously the first time we've met, and funny enough, when I was Googling you, like I said, I was doing the research on you, and I was like, this is an endless rabbit hole for you. There's loads of stuff I could talk about, so yeah. We've got a lot to go through today, mate. But first of all, I want to ask you, is it true that you recently won, was it $300,000 in Vegas?
350,000. Yeah.
350,000. How? Where did that come about?
It was the most, honestly, well, the thing is as well, here's another thing that like Google won't tell you about me if you search me. I played professional poker for a few years. I was sponsored by PokerStars, and then I was sponsored by GG Poker. I've worked with a few different sites. Played some serious games, private cash games, big tournaments up and down the country and stuff. But we went to Vegas for a holiday, just like literally just a vacation. Me, my ex, and my mum, which we brought with us. And I thought, my mum's never been to America. Let's take her to California. Let's take her to Vegas. She'll love it. And she did. But she really thought she'd hate Vegas because in her mind, she thought it was going to be like Blackpool.
No.
Vegas is just the best place in the world. I love it. Like,
it's so cool.
You can do anything you want there. If you want to just go and have like complete peace and silence and just sunbathe all day, you can. And then if you want to have the crazy side and do all the shows and gamble and drink and whatever you want, like strip clubs, shooting guns, driving fast cars, you can do that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so my mum and my ex stayed for 2 weeks, and when they were there, I limited the gambling and the poker playing and stuff because I wanted to spend time with them. Yeah, and especially with poker, you can be in the you can be at the table for hours and hours and hours.
Well, there's no windows, no clocks or anything, is
Nothing.
there? It's just,
and they
don't know
pump
time
in certain scents and stuff that keep you awake longer, and they give you free drinks and whatever you want, they will give you to keep you there. So anyway, they left, they went back to the UK, and I stayed for an extra 2 weeks with my friend, and it was just the most random thing. Like, we had no intention of playing this day. We actually went to like the space exhibition.
That's
cool. Huge warehouse studio where they have all of the walls were like LED screens, and it took you through a journey through space and time, and it was really trippy and really cool. And then afterwards, you were like, well, that was cool. What do you want to do? I was like, do you want to go play poker? I was like, yeah.
Well, you're in Vegas, you're going to do it,
We always went to the same casinos. We always went to the Aria, Caesars, like the big ones. We never went to any of the like other somewhat cheaper, more, I wouldn't say run down casinos, but not the more high end ones. Yeah. So it was always like the Wynn and places like that we go to. But this one day he just went, oh, do you want to go to Planet Hollywood? Like, I don't know what made him think of this. Like, we both never would have went there, but we were like, yeah, fine, whatever. We sat down at this table, and within an hour, I hit a royal flush on this, and that was like what the jackpot was for this thing. I mean, the odds of that happening, I think, are like 1 in 2.5 million. And cut a long story short, I fanned through the cards really slowly. And the way I looked through the cards was I held my thumb over the suit. So I wouldn't see if they were all black, I would know then I have at least 3 of the 5, because they're all black. Yeah. So I fanned it out, and it came King, Jack, Queen, all black. Something. Ooh, okay, that's a nice start. And then the 10 was there. Then the ace was, and they were all black. So at this point, I still didn't look at the suit. I just put the cards down, and I looked at all the guys on the table. I said, guys, I might have a royal flush. I actually might have a royal flush. So then my friend, he was in seat 1. He turned his hand up first, and I saw he had the Queen and Jack of clubs. And the first card I saw it was a spade. So I'm like, oh my God, I've got 3. And then, just as time went on, we all
feel that little excitement building. Yeah.
It was just such a random thing. And to be honest, it was a bit of a blur because it was just such an unexpected thing. Yeah. And then, they turned the hand over. It was the royal flush. The jackpot sign went off. The whole building was going ballistic. Yeah. But the thing was as well, if you played on that table, while somebody won the jackpot, everyone got $5,000.
That's cool. But so everyone was your best friend as well.
They didn't know that. So when they came and gave everyone $5,000 at the table, they were just screaming and stuff. But I didn't actually get that full amount. So firstly, they took out $106,000 in tax. But I can claim that back next year because the being British, we have a treaty with the US.
Yeah.
So that's
all right.
I can claim that back.
Yeah.
But I had a deal with my friend from the beginning. If any of us hit a big jackpot, we split it 50-50.
That's cool.
So the second I won, the first thing I said was, I looked over the table like, mate, you're getting 150,000. Like, I was just not selfish at all. Like, not going to be one of those guys that tries and says, we didn't make a deal. Like, straight up, like, you've just.
Yes, you cut. Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just a completely random, unexpected thing. But it hasn't changed anything, to be honest. You know, like, it's a substantial amount of money. But one thing I'm very grateful for is the fact that, you know, I did used to play professional poker. I saw money come and go really quick.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so, like, you know, some of these cash games I'd be playing would be like, you know, you sit in for like £10,000. Some days you win 20, 30, whatever. Some days you'd lose 20, 30,000, whatever. You know, it would fluctuate so much, and having that amount of money coming in and out, sometimes on a daily basis, it really teaches you that, you know, money isn't everything. And the thing for me was, I was so engrossed in poker for like 3 years. I couldn't enjoy anything simple in life. Like, for example, when COVID happened and everyone was on lockdown, people were going for walks and people were doing things and drawing and I was just thinking of money constantly. I'd wake up in the morning, I'm like, right, I need to make money. Money. Until I went to bed, and I'd be with family at meals, I'd be with, you know, my girlfriend, I'd be with friends, I'd be with whatever.
Yeah.
And even though we'd be doing nice things, my mind was just polluted with the thought of money, which killed me, man. Like, it absolutely killed me. I went in a really downhill spiral mentally because of that.
Yeah.
You know, it just ruins you. You know, like, you hear the saying, money doesn't buy happiness. And I found that, you know, when I was a kid and a teenager in early 20s, when I had nothing, I was genuinely happier because everything was great. Yeah. Like, if my mum called me and said, hey, we're going bowling, do you want to come? When I was like 21 years old, I get so excited. But when you have, you know, like a certain amount of money in the bank, let's just say 10,000 in the bank, that's enough to do almost whatever you want with. You can go and get a nice steak, you can have a nice hotel, you can...
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about it as well. Yeah.
It kind of takes away, you know, the simplicity in life if you let it. So when I did win that money in Vegas, I thought, you know what it is? That's great. I'm going to invest it all, or maybe keep 5,000. Yeah. It's like a rainy day fund.
Yeah, buy myself a PS5, something like that. Yeah.
Simple things. I paid for my teeth. I don't have turkey teeth. I got the Invisalign, straight my teeth out. You know, little things I thought I'm not gonna, you know, splash on. And when this happened, I thought, you know,
things that you normally have to like budget for, and
And I thought, you know, this time I'm gonna treat myself to things I kind of need, and then that's it. You know, so I paid my car off, paid a few things off.
Yeah.
And then put all of it in.
Yeah, a smart move on your part. Yeah.
Because I don't want to let money ruin me anymore, because it has in the past.
Yeah.
Having so much of it available, I found it's
not
a good thing. It can be. So
yeah, we'll definitely loop back around to that as well. So one of the things that obviously I want to tell your story today, let you tell your story, hear a bit more about you, because I found out loads of interesting shit. And I'm like, I want to know more. So, but take us back to sort of your childhood, your high school years. It's kind of where your story sort of starts for a lot of reasons. So you were Kurdistan, you had no friends, you weren't really, you know, you were quite reclusive, you kind of lost yourself in Minecraft and stuff like that a little bit. RuneScape, sorry. Yeah. So how was your school life back then? What was it kind of like for you?
It's really interesting. It's funny because the first thing I want to say is I was never physically bullied. And there's some newspapers and articles out there, they stretch it.
Yeah, they
massively.
do. Yeah.
But I was definitely bullied at school, but most people were in some way. I'm sure you've experienced your fair share. Your brother probably has at some point. You know, everybody has been through it.
Yeah.
I feel like I was just affected a little bit more than others outside of school. Like I remember quite a few times running home from high school during the middle of class, just running home from school crying, sitting on my doorstep waiting for my mum, like shaking, crying, just riddled with like anxiety and fear and all these things. But it never used to be that way. So like I would say in first school and middle school, if people were watching from abroad, that's like age of say 5 to 13. I had a pretty good, you know, childhood. My mum was a childminder, so she was never at work. She was always at home.
Yeah.
All my friends who she used to look after would come back to my house from school and would play and stuff. It was great.
She was quite sociable.
Yeah. But, you know, everyone's a kid when you're 13. You know, you act stupid, you do stupid stuff, and you know, life was great. My problem was when I went to high school, I was still that kid when everyone else was growing up. Like, for example, all my friends were listening to like 50 Cent and all these guys and whatever. Yeah. I was still watching SpongeBob at 16, you know, like genuinely loving it.
Hey man, I'm 27. I still love a good SpongeBob episode, man.
But at high school, you don't want to like say that. You know?
Yeah, you don't admit it. Yeah.
You know, so I actually remember the first day of high school. Before I went, I stood in front of the mirror in my house at the bottom of the stairs with my uniform and stuff on, and I actually spoke to myself, like looked at myself in the eyes. I was like, right, Zach, this is your chance. This is your opportunity to be cool, to get friends, to be that popular guy. Because I always had friends, but not many, you know, just like maybe one or two. And, I saw this as an opportunity when I went into high school to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to be. I tried to be somebody else. I was acting differently. I was pretending to like stuff I didn't like. And I was just trying to fit in. And I found that didn't work. And more than anything, it was making me miserable. So I kind of just gave up on that. And then, you know, I had a pretty decent time in high school. It wasn't terrible, but just, like I said, certain people, certain things really got to me. And when they did get to me, it was too much for me to cope with.
Yeah.
But I did have some friends, but the problem was, you know, in high school you have like groups.
Yeah.
So like over here we have
stuff,
like trendies and like the Rajis and
the mean girls.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
In America you have like the jocks and the geeks and all these
yeah.
different things. I would have like maybe one or two friends from each group, but the rest of the group hated me.
Yeah, yeah.
So like at school I didn't have like a place to hang out. I would kind of just like dot around. But outside of school I would hang out with my friends, but like just that one friend.
Yeah.
The rest of them. But my life was RuneScape. When I was, say, since 2005, it was basically, I would say 2005 to 2009. Those 4 or 5 years was just 10 plus hours a day. Because for me, that was my escape from reality. Within this game, I was a high level character. And, you know, people would be in awe at my character in this game, which made me feel amazing. And when you're so engrossed into something, and I mean, I really believed back then, like, I was that guy. My idols in life were from this game, which is another story I want to tell you about, actually. That's why I used to play this game religiously, to escape this, you know, geeky, small, skinny, bullied kid at school to being this powerful, high-level character in-game where people would, like, genuinely admire me.
Yeah.
I wanted this character, you know, so that's why I played that game so much. And people couldn't understand that. And, you know, at the time, I couldn't really explain that.
Yeah, it's funny. I relate to that as well, because I used to come home and I used to have MSN open on one window and then RuneScape on the other. And, you know, it was just hours of cutting down trees and standing by the exchange saying who wants to swap for this and buying this for X amount of money and stuff like that. And I do miss those days, but you are right, there is that. I think that's why a lot of people love video games, especially, is because when their life's going to shit or they're not in a place they want to be, if there's something in a game world where they are what they want to be in this game world, it's very easy to get lost in that and put hours of your time.
You can be that character you want to be.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You can dress any way you want. Yeah. I notice, like, if in most games where you have the option to create a character, like Skyrim or GTA or something, you can look a certain way. People never dress in shirt and ties or whatever. They have like green spiky hair or tattoos on their face and stuff.
Yeah.
Like they're living out this character they wish they kind of could be in real life, but they can't because they're judged and people look at them and they talk about them. And
here's a question for you, though. Here's a question for you. If you were to create a character now, would he look like you, or would he look like you used to create him back then?
Can you remember a game called Def Jam Fight for New York?
Yeah.
My character 15 years ago when I made it looked like me now.
That's cool. What, just like huge? Yeah, nice.
Small waist, big upper body, blonde spiky hair. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah. So you kind of like, I think my old characters used to have like, I was very big a Devil May Cry fan, so like long white sort of emo hair and stuff like that. And now I'm like, every character I make is like bald ginger beard. That's
I love it.
You can never have glasses in a lot of games, so I'm just like, oh well, I guess I'm just gonna have to lose that nerdy edge with the glasses. But But
no, I found that like when I did used to create these characters, strength was always the biggest thing. So like in RuneScape, strength was my highest level and things like this. But yeah, I always admired like strong guys, like muscular men, like not in a like I'm attracted to type of way, but I just like thought these guys are fucking awesome.
This is who you want to be.
That's what I want. Like I want to be strong. I want to be like, you know, alpha, I guess, like don't mess with me kind of thing. Not that I go around like acting like that at all.
No.
I just think that, you know, as a kid who was the skinniest guy at school, as well as being the whitest guy in existence, I just found that, you know, if I had muscle, like that's, you know, ultimately that was just always my goal, was to just be bigger and stronger, more confident. And, you know, that's what I strived for. And then, I just started going to the gym. And then as soon as I saw the first result, which was like a slight line down my chest, I was hooked.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that as well. So did you, I read one piece, and obviously you're going to have to clarify these for the audience and myself as well. So there's one piece that said that you used to climb water towers.
Oh, mate, I climbed everything.
Or like an Assassin's Creed parkour style, like just climbing towers?
Here's a really funny one. I was up that water tower 3 nights ago.
What, the same one?
Yeah,
I'm guessing. Yeah. Well, it mentions that you used to think that this is the day that I jump off.
Yeah,
so can you get into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So there was a particular. There's been like maybe 3 periods in my life where I like really struggled. 2 of them were like really, really dark times. One was this time. I was very lonely at the point. Like all my friends who I did know moved away, went to uni, whatever. I was living by myself. Well, half with my dad, half by myself. And me and my dad used to clash massively. I mean, there's videos of him online, angry dad, you know, there's viral videos. But we just couldn't really live together, you know, we just clash about everything. My hormones were changing. I didn't know what I was going to do in life. I was flat broke. Was trying to make a living through fitness, modeling, bodybuilding. I was getting so much work, but I wasn't getting paid for a thing. I had like 100,000 followers, but I was broke. You know, like money wasn't coming in.
How old are you at this point?
19.
Right.
Maybe 20. I think 19. 19, 20. But I had I had it in my mind that like, you know, I have all these followers and I have all these opportunities. I'm doing all these photo shoots around the world and stuff. I don't need a normal job. I'm not going to go and work for 9 to 5 when I've got this like kind of mentality. But at the same time, I had no money coming in. So I got my first ever job. I worked as, I don't know what the official title is, but I was essentially putting pipes together in this industrial warehouse. And it was horrendous. I had a space, maybe a fifth of the size of this room. It was tiny. Just to put pipes together all day, 10 hours a day.
Jesus.
Grim. My back was wrecked and everything was sore and like.
But your hands were fucked as well.
Everything just. It was a pretty hard job. But I was looking around like at all these guys. There was a lot of guys there doing it. I'm thinking, man, like I'm done. I've already been here a week and I'm sick of this. Like, how can you guys be doing this for years? And I like had so much admiration for these guys. But anyway, I did 3 weeks of that because I started a week into the month and then everyone got paid at the end of the month. But I did overtime on the weekends and I stayed after hours and stuff because I really was so driven to make money. And after 3 weeks and doing overtime most weekends, I got £850. And I was just like looking at this check thinking, are you fucking joking? I was so angry at this check. I was like, are you serious? Is this all I've got for all that work and all that pain I've put my back in? And I had to go and get chiropractic work done and stuff because my back was ruined from this. I mean,
all that money would have probably went on the chiropractor as well.
So at this point, I like ran out of this. I told the boss, Brian Trenchy was called, bless him, he passed away. I said, Trenchy, because I've known him since I was a kid. Like he was my dad's friend. I said, Trenchy, I'm leaving. I'm done. And he's like, what? Why? And I explained. I said, look, if I can spend 40 hours a week on myself, working as hard as I did here, I am convinced I can make more than £800 a month.
Fair.
And he shook my hand. He said, fair play. You know, if you ever need to come back, you can, you know, we always respect each other. And I went out and I was just so motivated from then, you know, started like really looking for opportunities and all these things and things actually started lifting up. But as things started to get really good, the worst turn in my life back then happened. So my absolute best friend in the whole world ever, Adrian, bless him, he was diagnosed with cancer, essentially. It was, what's the word called again? Mesothelioma, which is just one of the most brutal ones you can have, which just destroyed me. But he lived in California. So I remember I flew out there to spend like some final moments with him before he did pass. Had a great time in California. Everything was great. And then he was just like, hey, do you want to go to Alaska with us? We're going to go as a family and going to go and see the Aurora Borealis. And
cool, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So we went to Alaska. Everything was great. But I was seeing him day after day just deteriorate in front. And he changed in every way. His voice changed. His physical appearance changed because of all of the steroids and stuff he had to be on and all of these treatments. And internally, it was killing me seeing like my absolute like best friend and soulmate go through this. But I had to stay strong for him. And then on Christmas Day in the UK, he passed away. So Christmas was always ruined for me since then. But it was just since I lost him, I found that he was always that one guy who guided me through life. When people were being mean to me or over here and I was having family issues or anything that was going wrong, he was like my rock. He was like the one person I could go to for anything. And, you know, not just the fact that he wasn't there anymore, seeing him suffer, you know, just really affected me.
Yeah, man.
And I just found that, you know, I was so unbelievably depressed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. The thought of going to the gym was just non-existent, which then made me lose a lot of weight. So then when I looked in the mirror, that made me even worse. And then just everything just seemed to be snowballing downhill for me. I found that one night, maybe after 2.5, 3 days of no sleep, I found myself on that water tower, because that used to be like my happy place. I'd always go up there, look at the sunsets and stuff.
That's cool.
And I was sat on the edge of it thinking, like, if I just leaned forward now, I wouldn't feel like this anymore. Because I would have obviously just fell off and just either been dead or completely fucked. I would have been conscious anymore. But that's how low I was in that moment. And I kind of just felt myself, if I just lean forward now, I wouldn't feel this pain anymore. And as I wasn't really contemplating it, but it was a very strong thought process in that moment. I felt like I was just yanked back, and I was lying back there, and there was nobody there. But at the time, it really felt like somebody had just pulled me back. So then I'm lying on top of this water tower, crying my eyes out, thinking like, what's going on with my life and all these things. And then I just felt Adrian was like behind me saying, you're stronger than this. And you've got all these followers who look up to you, and you're an example and all these things. And I just heard it, like, I didn't hear a voice, but like I imagined the voice of him saying, stand up, come on, let's go. So I was like, wipe my eyes, walking back home, which was like a 3-mile walk at like 4 a.m. Walk back home, managed to sleep that night. And then from then I was just like motivated and determined to change my life and fix how I feel. And it was tough, but you know, that's the very short version of it, essentially.
Do you still hear his voice in the back of your head when you're going through hard times now?
Very rarely, to be honest. I mean, he did die, you know what, 10 years ago now, 9 years ago. So not as much, but you know, I think about him all the time. I do think about him all the time. But with what I've recently been through, I've also been through a lot of hard times. It was ridiculous. I had like 2 years of just bad thing after bad thing happen. And, you know, I was questioning so much, like, why me? What have I done? Is this karma for something I haven't realized I've done? And just, I had this 2 years of my life recently have been horrific. Thankfully, that's over now and things are getting better. Like, it's great. But I used to think about him a lot.
Do you think as you've progressed through, just as a side note, as you progress through these opportunities that have been given to you, obviously you've had a very roller coaster of a life, you know, but you've done incredible highs, and then you've obviously got those lower lows. Like, do you think because you've been through this, do you think because you're on that path, that's what's put these in front of you, these challenges? Because I think, in my personal belief, that the more you strive to do more, the more challenges, the more that you're going to have I call them higher quality problems. Yeah,
100%. I think going back to that more money, more problems thing, it's so true. But not just with money, with everything. I mean, I was skyrocketed into this industry. I mean, I posted my first picture on Facebook and it got 6 likes. My first topless picture. My third or fourth got 10. And I was like so happy that I hit double fingers. My fifth went viral and I had like 40,000. Because it was just shared by so many of these fitness pages and stuff. And within, I think, the first year of making my Instagram, I had 100,000 followers and was traveling the world.
Was this after you, because you got invited to a model shoot in Florida, was it? Is that after that it kind of blew up?
So I posted my first picture on Facebook. A photographer in London asked me to do a shoot there with him. I was so scared to do it. I asked my dad if he'd come with me because in my mind I was like, right, this, because it was a gay photographer and he primarily shot for magazines and, you know, like fashion stuff. And I just, you know, me being an insecure 19-year-old, I was like, I've heard stories about these kind of guys.
I can imagine the mindset. So
I asked my dad to come with me, and the guy was very professional, you know, because it was underwear modeling. So I was like, I've heard stories about these creepy photographers. Anyway, I took my dad with me. The shoot went really well. And the pictures from that shoot did even better. And when these pictures came out from him, I had a guy from China message me saying he was going to Vegas for the Olympia and he has some photographers out there who are interested in shooting me.
Nice.
He wanted to fly me out there to do some photo shoots, and I was supposed to do 1, I think maybe 2 in Vegas during the Mr Olympia weekend. I ended up doing 7 with different photographers, like the highest photographers in the at the time. And I also landed 3 magazine covers in that week. So I went from, you know, posting a picture on Facebook to literally a week later being in Vegas on the cover of 3 magazines, shooting with the best photographers, and just instantly.
That's what you call overnight success, isn't it? Almost, yeah.
With that has came these, like you said, incredible peaks, and then when it all stops, it feels like a tremendous crash. And my life's always kind of been that way. So whether it's been fitness stuff, competing, poker, DJing, anything like that, it's extreme highs, and then all of a sudden it's finished and it's back to.
Yeah, exactly. Well, one of the extreme highs I found about you was that you DJed in Cavos for three months? Is that correct?
6 months. Yeah.
6 months. Yeah. This newspaper article needs to sort shit. Yeah, but like when you came back from this whole DJ experience, your liver was in quite a state.
Oh, mate, it was horrendous. So it was 3 months of like excessive drinking.
Yeah,
it was a full season, but I'm sure I did 6 in total. But there was a 3-month season I did where I just drank every single day. But people were like, oh yeah, I do that on holiday. But mate, no, I was waking up at 7 p.m. That's when I'd wake up.
Yeah,
pre-drink from waking up, because I would start work at 9. So I'd wake up, eat, start drinking before I played, because I couldn't play as well and use the microphone with as much what's the word?
like enthusiasm with
confidence.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just woke up.
Sorry, man.
I couldn't use the microphone with as much confidence if I hadn't had a drink. So I would drink from like say 7:30, 8 p.m. Start working at 9. From 9 till 4 in the morning was like my usual shift. I'd be drinking throughout the whole night. And then from 4 morning till 9 in the morning, I'd be drinking at all the after parties. I'd sleep from like 9 till 10 a.m. Absolutely hammered, like wasted.
Yeah.
Sleep all through the Sunday. Wake up at 7, 8 p.m. again. Start drinking. I did that for 3 months. And I mean, I wasn't just like having one drink an hour. I was drinking like constantly. Shots. Probably went through like a liter.
Well, when you're out there, that's the lifestyle though. Like people think that they go on a bender on a Friday and that's like the worst of it. I'm never drinking again. It's like, but imagine doing that every day for like months.
And
like,
I never got hungover, so I could do it all the time.
Because you probably weren't sober to get a hangover.
I mean, I never threw up. I was never felt sick. I never had any sort of issues. Nothing. I just thought this was great, and then I slept it off. Woke up next day ready again. So I was living the dream at 19 years old doing that, but I had a serious wake up call that holiday. So yeah, like you said, as we were coming back home, I noticed I just had back pain, like lower back pain. That's probably the really terrible beds I've been sleeping in, and obviously dancing for 3 months straight, essentially.
Yeah.
So I'll just ease off. But after like a week or two at home, it just didn't go away. If anything, it got worse, and it spread from like one part of my back, kind of like around the full lower back. So okay, this isn't normal. So I went to a chiropractor, because at the time I was so uneducated on what physio was or anything. The chiropractor just cracked my back, and I think if anything, he made it worse because it didn't need cracked. Yeah. So I came out of that feeling like, okay, that's just a waste of money, and I feel even worse now. I'm going to go to the doctors because this is not good. So they asked me a few questions. They poked me a few times, and they poked me one place. I was like, Jesus, don't do that. He said, okay, that's not a good sign. So they ran my bloods, they done a few tests, and then I think like a couple of days later, they rang me asking to go back in. So instantly, I'm like, oh God, I'm dying. Like,
That's
if the doctor asks you to come back quickly, like, it's not good. Went down, and they basically just told me my liver's fucked.
Well, they said it was the liver of a 50-year-old, is that right?
50-year-old who's been drinking his whole life.
Jesus.
But I don't know, because he's like a friend of the family doctor. I was like, is he doing that to scare me, or is he actually like, is that real?
Yeah.
Either way, it scared the living shit out of me, because I was 19. And the thing was, too, one of my good friends out there, he wasn't a roommate. Like, we didn't share the room together. We were like next door neighbors. Yeah. Basically roommates, but, slept in different rooms. We used to drink together all the time, party together all the time in Cavos. He was maybe 2 years older than me. He died, actually, when he came back home.
What from the alcohol consumption?
I assume so, because, he drank more than me, and it was like every day as well. Absolute legend. I loved him to death, but yeah, he just suddenly died after flying back to the UK. Yeah. So after seeing that and hearing this from the doctor, I was just like, is it me next? Living in fear all the time for the next couple of days. And then I had this like breakthrough moment. I was sat at my desk worrying about my liver and stuff, and I just jumped up, went, put my running shoes on, well, just normal trainers, and just started running. Started running, because I was like, this is going to get me fitter. Yeah. I went to Morrison's. I bought nothing but green veg fruit. berries.
Yeah, this really kickstarted the health thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's just super, super health food. I went back home, emptied everything out my cupboards that wasn't healthy. And then that was it. I was just on this like fitness journey again, because I always trained before that in school, but the alcohol and DJing side of things took over.
Yeah.
And then from that moment, like, do you know when you hear those guys saying, I'm never drinking again? Yeah. Well, I said, I'm never drinking again. And then I just didn't.
Yeah. What is your relationship like with drink now since then? Do you have the occasional Baileys at Christmas or something?
Yeah, so like now, I mean, I've had, I think maybe 3 drinks this year, which is it. You know, we're coming to the end of the year now, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah.
But do you know how I was saying like the past, for like 2 years have been pretty rough? I was drinking a lot during that. Like a lot for an athlete, you know. I was partying all the time. I was going to raves every weekend, like big raves in the Netherlands, you know, not just like a local club with 500 people. We're talking like 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Hardcore techno, like raw style, hard style, like hardcore raves, you know. And I was just getting absolutely plastered at most of them. And but for the most part, I was usually really good. But I have this thing now where I just can't seem to get drunk. It's really strange.
What, with trying or just?
Yeah. So like, I don't know what it is, but like, say this is a graph. This is 9 p.m. This is 3 in the morning. This is sober, and this is wasted. You know, when most people drink, they'll drink. And by 3 in the morning, they're absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
This is me. Drink. drink.
Oh, so you have like your spike and then you come down.
It's crazy. So I'll have like 1 or 2 drinks and I'll really feel it and everything's great and I'm a bit more confident, more chatty. I'm hugging more people. I'm so happy to be out. And then after 10 drinks, I'm completely sober, but I feel sick. So
I'm sort of like, I mean, obviously you go through that phase. I was never, I've never been to Ibiza. I never did the party scene and stuff. You know what I mean? I'm a little nerd, you know, I stay inside and that. But, I would go out to the clubs I do Friday, Saturday. That was my thing every week. And, the one thing that I've discovered about alcohol is it's the only drug that if you don't take it, people assume you've got a problem.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And but it's like when I used to go to Weatherspoons and stuff, on the pictures and stuff, why you're not drinking tonight? You're being weird, you're boring, whatever. I'm like, especially when I started getting into the gym and stuff. Obviously, I've trained for 7-something years now. You know what I mean? I've never trained like an athlete or anything like that, but I took it seriously enough to, where I feel good about my life. I'm not this skinny, weedy, depressed kid. But alcohol played a part in that. And the weird thing is, as soon as I started training more, the less I wanted to drink, the less I gave a shit. I was more concerned about how I felt internally than how I looked externally.
100%, yeah. That's me now. I'm on a super like health mission. But no, you're 100% right. I feel like it's a peer pressure thing, isn't it? You go out and if you're not drinking, you feel like the one guy who's not drinking, and everyone's judging you for it. And if you do drink, well, I mean, me now, you're doing it to please others.
Yeah.
So I just don't go out anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's in our nature to want to be accepted by the people around us. You know what I mean? Even if you look at what cavemen brains, we'll want to be accepted by the tribes and all this stuff. Like, it makes sense, but then it's like, we'll go find a tribe of people who don't need to get smashed.
That's the thing. That's why I moved country. Not just saying this like I'm not being negative, but I find that the British mentality is one of the worst in the planet.
Yeah, there was hotels in Spain that stopped Brits from drinking on all inclusives or something.
It's just one of those things, man. Like I feel like people here just have pea brains, especially like the footballers and like the football fans. You can be at a football match and have people literally killing themselves, killing each other, fighting, throwing bricks, punching horses. You have to get so many riot policing because people are just screaming and like, fuck off. So much hate and negativity. I was at the remembrance service the other day and I just thought to myself, if we had a Newcastle supporter and a Sunderland supporter next to each other now, they'd be best friends because they're remembering the fallen. The second they walk away from here, they'd be punching each other again. It just to me, it blows my mind how people act over here, especially though with drinking and diet. Diet and fitness is my life, but I don't go around pushing it in people's faces. I let people do what they want, but I feel like people are so close-minded over here. They don't even want to listen to what potential simple alternatives it could be to living healthier and happier and longer. Yeah. For example, oil. So like seed oils are probably one of the worst things you could ever put in your body. Rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil. Throw that out if you have that in your house. Get rid of it now.
Lewis, throw out our oil. Throw it out.
Get rid of it. Use olive oil, coconut oil.
Yeah, coconut oil's a nice one.
Real butter, not the Lurk pack spreadable butter. Read the pack. If you got spreadable butter in the house, read the back of it. It's like 50% sunflower oil. It's, not actual butter.
Yeah.
Get a real block of butter that has no ingredients in it, just butter.
Well, a lot of people's calories, they're wondering why they're not losing weight, but like oil's got so many calories in it that people don't even think about when they're smothering their chicken in it.
True. But that's what I was saying about the British mentality is I've tried to explain to certain people, like my mum, for example, bless her, she has fibromyalgia, she's got arthritis, she's got a lot of inflammation-related diseases.
Mm-hmm.
So part of the reason I hate these oils, the sunflower ones, for example, they increase inflammation in the body. They're shocking for it. So I was trying to explain to my mum, just replace your sunflower oil with olive oil. Yeah, but it's more expensive. I'm just like,
it's like a pound. Yeah, it's not.
And it'll last you 5 months. You know what I mean? And, but if you go to Netherlands and try and teach somebody about this, they're very open-minded. They're very, really interesting. And if you go to Spain or France, whatever, even though the French are pretty miserable people, they're still open-minded compared to people over here.
Yeah.
I just find that, British people are more judgmental. They talk about each other behind their backs more.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm in the Netherlands because I lived there. If somebody had a problem with me over there, they would come up to me, they would address it, they would say, hey, you've done this, I don't like it, can we fix it and move forward? I love that.
Yeah.
If I've annoyed you, please tell me, I will do my best to fix that.
Yeah.
Over here, hey, great to see you, how are you doing, everything's good. The second I turn around, what a fucking dick, I hate him.
Yeah. Do you see how he's dressed?
Yeah,
it is. It's that behind the back bitchiness, isn't it? But
yeah.
I mean,
I don't like it, man.
We do have a weird culture here, and do you know what's funny? As soon as you mention your mum as well, I'm like, my mum is exactly the same.
Stubborn.
She's been trying to lose weight for so long, man, and I'm just like, just change this, do this, don't eat this, eat this instead.
Super minor tweaks.
Yeah, and then she'll like lose a couple pounds, but then it's like something will come up, and then it's like, oh, it's just having this pizza, and then it's just if you just stuck to something for more than like a
3
week,
days,
it's like you would see the results, but that is the majority. I mean, you've got this obesity problem now. Do you know what I mean? Like, people don't take the health seriously. I mean, I think they're reckoning, what is it, like 2030, 2040, something like over half the world's going to be obese.
Well, we're nearly there now.
Yeah, more or less.
In the US, it's like 40%. It's
Yeah.
insane. There is a country in the world where it's over 50%. I can't remember which, but it is over 50% obese of the population. It's insane.
Someone said to me the other day, "You've never seen a fat Chinese person?" I was like, I've also never seen a pregnant Chinese woman either. I was like,
I've got a few fat Chinese friends I got live.
you have to show me them because I've never seen one.
Really? Yeah. But no, what I was going to say again was, so like, with fitness and health, I'm definitely not like one of these extremists who goes around and pushes it on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't be fat. You shouldn't be skinny. You shouldn't. I'll more than happy to let people be what they want.
Yeah.
If you're happy and fat, mint. I love that. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not bothered at all by being unhealthy or having like risks with your health, fine. That's great. As long as you're happy, that's all I care about. It's those people that complain about everything and don't do anything about it that drives me nuts. So I've got friends and family who do nothing but complain. Yeah. I'm not going to mention names because they'll get upset. They will see this. But they complain constantly about their health, their body. They're in pain all the time physically. They've got no energy to do anything. They're out of breath. They just can't do anything. Yeah. They're constantly complaining. And then they have a son who has 10 years plus experience with everything they're talking about, who's trying to help them and give them advice. And they just turn their backs to me, don't want to hear anything. But then they happily go to a doctor, listen to what the doctor says, and takes all the tablets they give them that isn't doing anything. It's the tablets are just masking their problems.
Yeah.
So I find as well that if you had a car and the engine warning light came on, how would you fix that? You don't just take out the light that says there's a problem, do you? And ignore it.
True.
You take it to the garage, you get it fixed. You do something about it.
Yeah.
But with our bodies, as soon as we have a headache or a cold or our breathing gets heavy or something, we take these tablets to suppress and mask that feeling. We're not fixing the problem. We're not fixing the root of the problem.
Yeah.
We're masking it. And that's what this population, this world has become to now. If we have something wrong with us, it's a recurring problem. We take medicine to mask that problem. We don't go at the source and think, right, why is this problem occurring in the first place and what can I do to fix it and prevent it from happening? That's what I'm getting frustrated with my family because I know how to fix some of the issues with certain people. I know what the process is and it's very simple. It's just making minor changes in your life, like I said, diet, being a little bit more active, doing certain things, but they're just so stubborn.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're just happy by complaining makes them happy. I truly believe it.
This is the thing that I was talking about this on Facebook the other day. Someone disagreed with me, but fuck them. I said self-sabotage doesn't exist. It's self-soothing, because you don't actively go out your way to fuck yourself over. You don't actively go out your way to make yourself unhealthy, but you don't change because you get something from staying the same. Do you know what I mean? Because you don't change, you are secure in who you are. If you're fat and people say, do this, and you think, I tried to do it once, you know what I mean? It's like you backed off because it was uncertain. You didn't have all the answers, but as you had all the answers, you knew who you were, you knew what you could eat. There was this relief of not having to change. Yeah. And I'm like, once you see that self-sabotage doesn't exist, you are never actually sabotaging yourself, because you're actually getting something from what you're currently doing. And it's like if someone's trying to lose weight, for example, I self-sabotaged, I had fish and chips, and I stopped going to the gym or whatever, didn't get up in time. That's on you. It's not, you didn't actively go your way to self-sabotage. You self-soothe by saying, well, I'm going to stay in bed. Yeah. I value this fish and chips more than I do this chicken and fucking kale. Yeah. I mean, it's like you're getting something from staying the same. And as soon as you realize that, you take responsibility and you can actually get on with what it is you said you were going to do.
What I usually say to my clients who struggle with the diet initially, I always say like two or three things. Firstly, the first hurdle's always the hardest. Mm-hmm. If you can do the first week, you'll find that after that, it actually gets so much easier. Yeah. But secondly, what's worse? The feeling of, I'm not having pizza now. Or the fact that you do eat what you want and you stay the way you are. Where you initially, you've came to me for a reason. You've came to lose weight. You've came to build muscle, whatever it is. You've came with a goal. What's worse? Not achieving the goal because of your own comforts, or stepping out of your comfort zone a bit, taking something out of your life which isn't a treat, enjoyment, like pizza or ice cream or cake or whatever it is that you have every day. Mm-hmm. Eliminating that and suffering with good, healthy food, or doing what you want and staying the same and being unhappy. What's worse? I always tell them that. And as soon as I say that, like, actually, you're right. It's a small sacrifice for a big reward. It really is. Yeah. But then sometimes I'll even say to people, okay, here's my diet for my competition. And I hate to compare because it puts you on pedestals. Yeah. I don't like to do that. Everybody's different and has their own goals. But some of these diets I'm sending my clients are brilliant. They're really tasty, really enjoyable, really good. And they're seeing the results. But after like you say, like 4 or 5 days, they're starting to get quiet. The updates aren't coming in. They're not sending me their weight. They're not sending me updates. And I'm like, hey, where are you? What's happening? Oh, sorry, mate, I missed 2 meals yesterday because of this. I'm like, well, it's pretty easy, mate. You can just take it in a Tupperware box. Yeah. It takes 2 minutes to eat. 2 minutes. And then I'll say, hey, okay, look at this diet. This is what I eat. And then they're like, okay, yeah, mine's pretty good. I can't really complain.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that, especially with the world we live in now, everything's so accessible. Yeah. I mean, you can see, firstly, attention spans people have significantly limited. We'll watch one video for 3 seconds and we're on to the next. We want something, we can get it. We can click it, So if you want to eat, you can just order it on your phone by doing this with your thumb. We're just turning into lazy fuckers, man. The whole world is progressively getting lazier and lazier and lazier. And it's showing. But I always challenge people, if you can just step out of this comfort zone, actually put a bit of effort into your life and stop being a bit of a lazy fuck, the reward and the feeling after that is like, man, I did this. So I remember watching this clip of a Marine saying he makes his bed religiously every Sunday morning. Yeah. And there was a reason why. And I remember sitting there thinking, who cares? Like, it's just a bed, you mess it up again in the night. And until I thought, what it is? Look at me being a judgmental fuck. I'm just sat here complaining about this guy making his bed. I'm going to get up and try it. And I didn't just waft my sheet and put it on. I made it. I really put effort in. And it took me like 2 minutes. But after that 2 minutes, I felt this like, wow, I did that. Look how nice my bed looked. And the feeling I got from just making my bed set me up for the whole day.
Yeah, well, it's stacking wins. That's what, you know what it is. It's like you start the day off well. Most people start the day off, they're underslept for one, they've went to bed too late, their alarm kicks off and they're like dragged out of this dream. Like the heart's already going, their alarm's kicking off at them. Then they'll leave their bed a mess, they'll do it later or whatever. Then they'll run downstairs, they'll slam some toast or some fucking cereal in.
Speaking of which.
Then, and then they'll, then they'll rush out of work, they'll maybe forget to brush their teeth or they'll try and get their kids ready for work. There's just this mad scramble in the morning. Whereas if you slept a bit better, got up, you make your bed calmly. You don't just shove it on, you do it calm. you set yourself up for a calmer day than this anxious running around, fucking shitting your pants everywhere. Oh, I forgot this. I've done. I mean, the day's ruined. Do you know what I mean? That's how most people live. And it's like, just take your fucking time, sleep better, eat better, and it all just comes together. But like you said, it's the simple things that people just don't want to do.
Yeah.
Simple.
Simplicity has been taken away from a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, going back to this whole poker thing, for me, it was taken away from my life.
Yeah.
And I found that without simplicity in my life and having everything at the best and this and that and the other, it ruined me. I was living in this hectic state of mind constantly, and like I just was miserable. I was completely miserable. You know, I had a big house and I had a nice car and I was eating out at great restaurants all the time and stuff, but I was miserable because of it. Like, simplicity out of my life was gone.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if you lack simplicity and you can't enjoy the simple things, then, you know, you need to fix it. And you can't fix it. That's the thing. I feel like people, especially when they're in this situation where they're like, right, this is going on, or this is going on, or this, it's never going to get better, but it will, and it can, but you consciously need to make an effort. And I'm going to relate to myself in this one, with what happened with me in the past couple of years, which was my ex had cancer. My dad was in intensive care for like a year. Even when he got out of hospital, he was riddled with this horrible illness.
Mm-hmm.
My mum was very ill, with a lot of physical problems. While she had that, we got a call that her husband had a week to live. So I had to fly back home and be with him for his last week. He died at home. I had a lot of issues with work and sponsors and moving countries, and just, it was just one thing after another.
Yeah.
Just everything for me seemed to be going downhill fast. But I never lost hope. Even though I was in possibly the darkest place of my life, and I had multiple breakdowns. I rang my friends multiple times saying, I need you, man. I'm losing my mind. I've got to give a shout out to my friend Kyle. He really, really helped me. There was one day where I was just like, I need help, mate. I need help. I'm not in a good place. He came straight to my house. He brought his gaming chair, his computer. He stayed at mine for a few days, and we just hung out. And he said, look, mate, don't think about anything. Just be with me. Let's be together. Let's just be. Time is a great healer. I know you hear this all the time, but just believe in yourself. Believe in me. The things will get better, and I promise they will. And that's one thing I want to tell people. If you are going through something now, anything now, which is hard, and you can't see the light at the end, don't lose hope, because that's the one thing you need to hold on to, because things will get better. And but at the same time, you can't just sit around and wait for things to get better. You actually have to. This is where the hardest part comes. Even though you're in the lowest place of your life and you don't feel like doing anything. I mean, my beard was all over the place. I'd never cut my hair. I never showered. I was unmotivated to do anything. The thought of going to the gym was just not there. Yeah. I didn't want to eat well at all. I was having ice cream for breakfast. I was depressed, fully depressed. So in that moment, you have to make the conscious decision to change your life and do something about it, which is so brutally hard in those moments. But if you can do that and make those first steps, like I say, get over that first hurdle, everything will just keep going up from there. So
it's like baby step it gradually. Yeah. It's like if you can't do all of it, just do a little bit.
Precisely.
Like if you, like for example, you said obviously you stopped eating well, you didn't train or for anything. For example, if you were in this situation, rather than going, oh well, I need to eat right, I need to do this, start with a walk.
Yeah, just do one little thing.
Start with a good meal. Start with something that is, like we said before, stack some sort of win. You get one under your belt, then you can get two, then the next day you get three, and you just build up gradually. You know, if you've hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely. One exercise I was doing when I was feeling a bit low was I gave myself a challenge to compliment 5 random people a day.
Yeah.
So I was just going through the town in the shop, and I remember the first day I thought I'm going to do this. I was so nervous. And I was like, what am I nervous for? I've been on stage with thousands of people doing talks and stuff.
Yeah.
I was so scared to give some random person a compliment. I don't know why. But that just shows you the person I was in that time. I was just very weak and unconfident. And
it knocks you back down, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I went to Morrison's, and there was this old woman. She must have been, I don't know, 73, 74, I thought. And in a basket was nothing but meat and veg. And I just looked in the basket and I said, oh, I've just got to say, that's the best looking basket I've seen in months. Look how healthy all your food is. And she was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, oh, thank you. And she went, oh, I still cook myself. I'm not doing bad for 95. I was like, what?
Fucking hell.
And I was actually shocked. I went, 95? And she went, yeah. I was like, honestly, I thought you were like 70, if that. Like, you look amazing. And she was so pleased and so happy. And she grabbed my arm and she went, son, you've just made my whole week. And I got proper emotional. I thought, oh my God. I was like, okay, have a nice day. And I walked away like, okay, I feel better now. But one little thing like that can literally flip your whole day upside down. So then from there, I was going up to people who, I remember I saw a transgender person in the street, and I just went up and I was like, hey, I love your outfit, epic, instant smile. Yeah. Just a smile on their face. And I just thought, you know what it is? How nice is that? And so I did that. I did like 5 random people a day, and then same little things. Wake up, I'd make my bed. Yeah. Or one of my biggest things was I would eat and then just leave the plate. So I was like, okay, I'm going to eat, then wash the plate and put it away. It would take an extra 30 seconds of my time, but it was done. And just those tiny little things would add up and, you know, make you feel better. So I feel like, yeah, you have to consciously make an effort to make yourself feel better. But it is tough. Like I said, I never knew what depression was like until I had it. And it is a horrible thing, but you can do things about it. And I think the worst thing is you feel very isolated and very lonely, but you also feel like a burden on everyone around you. You know, when I was reaching out to certain people saying I need help, I knew it was the right thing to do, because people always say, oh, if you're feeling like this, please reach out. Please do. Like, they genuinely care about you. But in those moments, you just feel like you're bothering them. Yeah. You convince yourself you're annoying them or whatever it is. I thought myself in that time, I didn't want to ring anybody because of those feelings and those thoughts, intrusive thoughts. I thought, you know, screw those thoughts. If my friend was feeling this way, I would want him to ring me. So I called a few, and it was the best thing I did. Honestly, it was truly the best thing I did.
Well, that's why that's why it's important that you have those people. Like I said, the tribe. Like most guys, especially, their friendship circle is the people that they drink with. Yeah, it's never.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially yeah. But it's like I've got a best mate, and like if ever one of us is feeling shit, it's like, come over, let's couch co-op Halo. Let's just go shoot some aliens and some zombies, and let's feel better. And it's like, if you've got a bro, or, you know, if you're a woman listening to this, you've got like, you know, your soul sister or whatever you want to call her, right? It's like, they are the people that you can call. You're never a burden for those people. Yeah. And if you have these friends, you need to make it clear to them that if they're ever in the situation, they are never a burden. Even if they've never suggested it, you tell them that they're not a burden beforehand. Yeah. I found that's really helpful.
I like to think of myself now as like, anybody can come to me. Literally anybody. I don't care if friends, enemies, whatever. Like, I just don't want to see anybody be or feel the way I was feeling. Yeah. It's just the worst it is. And it's like, you know, even if you've had somebody who you don't like in your life, whether it's a work colleague or buddy at school or whatever, at the end of the day, like, we all make mistakes and we can all change. I found that forgiveness is the most powerful tool in the world. So for me, there was a lot of people that I used to actually hate in Morpeth, like the town I grew up in, because of my childhood. I used to look at them in the street and just instantly have negative thoughts, like, oh, this guy. As soon as I actually consciously stopped these thought processes and judging people from their past, and I would like switch that from, oh, that guy was a fucking prick in school, to think, I would switch and think, oh, I wonder how he's doing now. Instantly, my whole mood and my whole mindset and everything was happier and better.
Your perception is key, 100%.
You know.
So I'm curious, where do you think you would be if you didn't train, if you didn't find training?
I'd be in the creative field, 1000%. Whether it's producing music or, I mean, I have a degree in photography. Yeah, I don't know, something creative. 100%.
What about mentally? Where do you think you would be?
That's a very good question. I have no idea.
Do you think you'd be in a happy place? Do you think you'd be in a similar place?
The thing is, I know for certain I would need some release, like a dopamine hit of some kind. So I don't know, because the gym for me has always been that release. Like every time I train and I'm in my happy place, I'm giving my body what it needs and I'm eating, you know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a brilliant question. I have absolutely no idea. Like I couldn't answer that. Like,
have you ever thought about like, wow, what my life would have turned out if I didn't do this or that? No, you're just too focused on where you're going.
Not even. I just go with the flow for everything in life. I try not to overthink things, and I try not to plan too much. I feel like having super long-term plans are a disaster, actually, because you set goals and expectations. If you don't hit those expectations, then you feel terrible. And I haven't done enough. I haven't done this.
Interesting.
But if you just like kind of roll with the flow and go with the flow and just roll with life, but still try and create opportunities, then you can never fail. But then again, failure is also a good thing if you can learn from it and keep progressing. But yeah, I don't like to really set too many goals. So like one of my exes, for example, she really set goals for every single thing constantly. And if it didn't turn out the way she wanted, she'd be like angry, depressed, miserable, all these things like, oh, it didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And then there was me, happy-go-lucky with everything.
Yeah.
You still managed to be making things happen. So I don't know, like I've always just been a go with the flow kind of guy, but I don't just sit back and hope things happen. I do try and actively make things happen.
You try and direct the flow.
Yeah. But if something doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out. I'll just keep going. Keep moving on and keep trying to create opportunities.
It's hard with that because on one side, like you said, if you set too high expectations and you don't meet them, it's like then it kind of crushes your self-esteem, you back to square one. Whereas if you set realistic ones, but also put a strategy in place, I think it's very much the other side of the coin. Is if you have a strategy in place, it's like, okay, I want to be a bodybuilder. It's like if you're not a bodybuilder within a year and a half or whatever, you're not going to beat yourself up. You're going to go, well, how far have I actually come in that year and a half? What did I learn? What can I do better in order to push that further forward? So I think the review part is equally as important.
Well, that's the best way to be. It's like, okay, you have to analyze where you are and all these different things like that. I think where I'm saying with like don't set goals is, for example, like you saying I need to have this podcast done by 9 p.m. on the dot tonight, edited, fully uploaded. Then you're gonna set limits on yourself. I feel like obviously have a rough goal in mind in life and set obviously rough goals, but don't have them like on the tee everything because then you're just gonna become a wreck.
Yeah, you've got to be a healthy balance of You've got to give yourself some leeway. Most people, for the most part, most people are doing better than they think they are. Most people. There's some people who could obviously do better, but most 100%. People like I do put a lot of pressure on the podcast and stuff, and I'm like editing reels, TikToks, subtitles, get this right, camera angles, everything. Like it's a lot of work and it's a lot of pressure, and I say this on like most episodes now, but it's like it's worth doing. But I don't beat myself up if it doesn't get done. But funnily enough, it does get done because I had give myself some leeway, so I don't stress about it. But
absolutely.
So in terms of rounding up the sort of first half of this, what do you think? Do you think it's been jarring to go from the quiet kid in school, playing RuneScape and stuff, to all of a sudden this big internet personality in the spotlight? Was that ever jarring for you? I know you said it was quite an overnight thing, but
it's strange because I've had quite a journey with this, and I've had quite a journey with my relationship with myself. So when I first started getting fame and big opportunities and money coming through, and all these things you kind of want, I guess, or desire as a kid. I changed with that. I did. I put my hands up and say I did change. I had a massive ego, but it was all internally. So I never actually used to show it. I never really used to walk around acting better than anybody, but I used to think it, which is very toxic. I used to judge a lot of people. I used to think like if I saw a personal trainer in the gym that didn't know what they were doing, internally I'd be laughing at them, and be like, oh, what an idiot. I was a very judgy guy, but I kind of just came with this instant rise, and I was still young. I was like 19, 20, I had more balls than brains back then, so. But now it's very strange because the way I see and feel myself is how other people see me is probably going to be completely different. I am still that kid. I still play RuneScape. I still have my own insecurities, and I still not only remember, but I still feel how I did when I was at school for a lot of things, but most people, if they don't know me and they go to my Instagram, they're like, juicehead bodybuilder who loves himself. So, they couldn't be further from the truth with that,
Well, I've actually seen you a few times in the past. I saw you because I still train at Vision in Seoul, so I'd seen you there years ago. I think I saw you once in Five Guys as well. I was like, because I was sitting in the one in the motor center. It was opposite. There's like another Italian's opposite, right, and I remember going, "That's the fucking big guy from Instagram." I was like, look at that. So, but it was like I'd obviously seen you lift and stuff, and I never got that impression from you walking around. Some people you walk around the gym and they're just like. They have this energy of like, get it the fuck out my way, like I'm going to this machine. You never had that from what I saw. So
yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that, mate. But, I do get that a lot. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do get a lot of people commenting online, saying behind my back, like you hear things, and friends will be, oh, by the way, this guy said this.
Where do you think that comes from, though? Like, people hate on people who are successful. Do you think it's because it reminds them that they're not?
For anything.
Yes,
just
true.
Successful. I feel like it comes out more with people who are jealous, for example. Like, that's a big one, but it just happens a lot. Like I say, go back to this whole football, this mentality. Mate, if you're just wearing another club shirt, people will walk up to you and shout abuse at you on the street.
Mm.
They're just unhappy, mate.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. The only times in my life I've done that was when I was unhappy. When I'm in a mint mood, I wake up, everything's great. I could never go and judge somebody else. I could never go and be like, it's just, you're just unhappy.
Yeah.
And they look for any sort of reason to blame an external source other than themselves. So they can't accept that they're unhappy and they're miserable. And they have to give a reason why. And if that's just some random guy in the gym who looks better than them, then fair enough. And I always say this, like, if I am the reason, that, not if I'm the reason, what's the thing I'm trying to say? If someone's really unhappy and then they're talking shit about me, that's fine. They can do that as much as they want. If it makes them feel happier talking shit about me, then do it as much as you can. Be happier. I don't want anyone in this world to be that miserable. They have to talk shit about random people they don't know. Like, if somebody punched their mum, fair enough. Talk all the shit about them you want. But if it's somebody you've never even spoke to or met, then who gives you the right? But here's a really nice story, actually. And it's a bittersweet story. This one guy, I don't know his name, it was down in Birmingham. He didn't like me at all. But he never spoke to me. He never met me. He only saw me in the gym. And it was quite obvious. He was laughing about me. He was pointing at me and he was talking to his mates and stuff. And I was just like, wow, what the fuck? Like, I was in a good mood. And you can feel when people...
The energy of me,
I'm going to ignore it, whatever. I carried on training. And at the end, he sat at the bar at the gym having a shake. And I wanted a shake. So I had this uncomfortable feeling that I was going to have to sit next to him. So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Do I engage in conversation? He was clearly talking shit about me. And as I looked at me, he kind of like looked and went, like, giving this like, there he is type of thing. So I just went, hey, what's your name, mate? I'm Zach. Nice to meet you. And he was just a bit like stunned. He was like, I was like, Dave. And then we just started talking. And I was like, I can't help but notice that you were talking about me in the gym. I'm just curious why, mate. Like, I'm not having a go. I'm just genuinely curious. And we started talking for maybe 2 minutes. And then after about maybe 3 minutes of talking, he just put his hand out and said, mate, I'm very sorry for how I was acting. I was judging you. I am in a bad mood. My mum's not very well. And I am a dick. I'm being a dick. And I had so much respect for that, for this guy saying he was just being an arsehole. And he was like blaming it on anything he could. I was like, mate, you know what it is? I fucking love you, man. And we had a massive hug. And I was like, we should train sometime. We trained a few times and everything was great.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken to him since. But this is when I was living down south. But, that started out as somebody being very judgmental, having a lot of hate in their heart, and putting it on something else. In that instance, it was me. To then talking to that guy he hated for no reason, being like, oh, maybe it is just me, but accepting it. And then, if you, like I said, if you can accept that it's you will change. You will get better. You will not be that miserable anymore.
Yeah.
And I feel like people who are negative and who have hate in their hearts or whatever it is that's keeping them in this way, they will look for any excuse in the world to say it's not them. But if as soon as you can recognize it is you and you're just miserable for whatever reason it is, and if you can accept that and say, okay, it is me, let me change that, you will be happier.
Yeah.
Every way.
It's a responsibility. Taking the responsibility on yourself to change or to do something more, to change your mindset and stuff. But like I said, everyone just wants to blame externally. 100%.
If they don't want to change, they won't.
Yeah.
You can't change somebody. Like,
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Like one of the things that annoys me is like people, like I get comments because I've made videos on YouTube and stuff like 8 years or something like that now. Like, and I've had people message being like, "Oh, help me with this. How do I do this?" Da, da, da. And one of the most common ones is either people's partners or people's best friends that they're closest to. How do I make them do this? Or how do I get them to see this? And it's like, or you can't. Like, if they ask you for advice, give the advice. Offer them help, but don't demand that they take your help because it's not going to work. All they're going to feel is pressure and they're going to back away from you. Yeah. Leave the option open. 100%. Like, DMs open, you can message me anytime, you can message, it's one of those things that you have to let people in their own time. You can't force it, because all it's going to do is push them back into their shell a bit more.
I find that's like how it is with like these extreme religious people in America. Like they're trying to force a religion on you if you're not religious. They're not like saying, "Oh, we're here if you need it," you know. Because I'm a man who's recently found faith, and I love it. It's changed my life in so many wonderful ways. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, "You must go to church," and
you will suffer eternal damnation if you don't. Yeah,
you get those people who are like,
you do.
Proper, like, you know, if I go, "Oh Jesus, like, don't say the Lord's name in vain,"
you're
gonna burn in hell. For they're really extreme with it, and all they're doing by that is instead of like trying to, you know, educate you on what their religion is, they're making you never want to go near that place again. Yeah. It's like me, I don't go around going to people who are slightly out of shape. You need to go to the gym. Yeah. You are ashamed.
Do some bicep curls, bitch. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. You know, people who, if they want change, offer your services, your help, and your advice, your support. If they don't want it, you can't force it on them. 100%.
Yeah, definitely. So, one of the things that I want to get your opinion on, obviously you're big on men's mental health. You love talking about mental health and stuff. And I was looking through, like, there's loads of books like this. There's a great one called Dataclism, which shows our online lives and stuff like that, which is really good. And some of the stats I pulled up were really shocking, and I'd love to get your opinion on this. So, this is long-winded, guys, so settle in. So, if you connect some of the dots, you can see that there's clearly an issue. So, the highest suicide rates for men are between the ages of 45 and 55, roughly, right? Which is also the average age men get divorced, which is strange, right? But also then I was like, yeah, I can see how that will go hand in hand, you know, relationship breakdown, you know, when you're in a long-term relationship, your testosterone automatically lowers anyway. But then another interesting one is that around 70% of divorces are actually initiated by women. I was like, that's strange. So what does all this say about men? Because it looks like there's some sort of spiral that men seem to in the modern age be going down. They get into a certain age, they're more miserable, maybe they're even more out of shape, I don't know. But for the most part, it's like there's an age where men are really starting to suffer. Yeah. And there's multiple factors involved. Obviously, you know, I want to know, in your personal opinion, what could these men who are going through, say they're this age, right? Say they're 45, 55, maybe it's even go push it back down to 35. What is good for men's mental health, in your own opinion? And how can that relate to, say, relationships that you've been in yourself and that you could give advice to other men?
From what I personally see, I'm just going to talk about the UK, because that's where we are here.
Yeah.
What I see with that age group around here is they become very comfortable with the same things, and they do the same things. So they'll go to work, they'll come home, they'll put their feet up, they'll watch the same programs, they'll drink the same beer, they'll have 1 or 2 beers on the night time, and they're not very, but more antisocial. They're very enclosed in their own life, and they just do their own thing. They're quite, I'm not going to say selfish, but you know, they're far away from the active 20-year-old who's happy to do anything. Yeah. For the partner, for the family, whatever it is. They just want to be left alone. They want to have their quiet time and watch the football. And ultimately, from what I see, like I said, this is not everybody. Please don't scold me for this.
Yeah, it's on average. Yeah.
They're separating themselves further and further from others. And that's just, you know, a trending pattern I'm seeing, especially with like my dad's friends and people of that age. I just see it more and more. Like every time I go to the house, I can tell you where they're sat. They're in the same seat. I can tell you what they're drinking. They've got a tea. They've got a tin of Foster's or whatever it is. You know, but I think what keeps a good relationship going is when you first met your wife, your girlfriend or boyfriend or husband, whatever it is, the difference between you guys then for the first month, first 6 months, first year versus how you are now after 10 years is dramatically different. And that spark isn't quite there anymore. Once again, we have instant fingertip access to everything. Porn, you know, movies, TV, food, alcohol. If someone wanted drugs delivered to the house, they could just text somebody, instantly it'll come. So having all of these things instantly accessible too will distance yourself from a lot of things. And I feel like as well, you know, just your work environment can affect you a lot. Your relationship with friends can affect you a lot. If you're coming home from work with negative energy and you're bringing that negative energy home. So let's just say, for example, I'm 46, I work a job I'm not very happy with. My boss has been screaming at me all day. I take that home and I unload all that to my wife, and that's constant. She, at the end of the day, was going to get sick of that, and she just wants to find somebody who's positive, who's happy, who's going to go and take her out, who's going to go for walks, not fancy meals and Prada bags and stuff, like just somebody who's not going to be sat whinging about everything. Yeah. And I find that most most men, from my own experience, between 40 and 50, whinge about everything.
Oh yeah.
They just love to whinge. They sit and watch the news. Palestine's this and blah. Obviously, what's happening in the world isn't great, but they complain about it all day.
Yeah.
And they come home from work. They complain about work. They have a bad round of golf. They complain about golf. You know, and that goes back to that person being unhappy. And if they can recognize that they're unhappy and they might be affecting those around them, and they can change that, everything will get better.
Yeah.
But the problem with most people that age, they're so fucking stubborn. They won't. They will never accept that it's them. They will blame everybody around them until it's too late. They blame and blame and blame. Those people they love will leave. And then after they've left, they might sit and reflect and think, it might have been partially me, you know, and then they'll go back and try and fix things, but it's already too late.
Well, I think personally there is a lot of responsibility men need to take in relationships, and I think modern day relationships, it's kind of taking a backseat. And I always say, if you continue to try and date your partner, like you would at the start, that's a good starting point to keep trying to date. Like, don't get complacent, don't get lazy, don't fall into, you know, bad habits or whatever. But I think in general, like, you both need a hobby for your mental health.
100%.
Whether you both, I think, need to train. Like, I know, obviously,
mate, I think as well doing things together like that is
important,
you know, like, you know, my girlfriend now, we go to the gym together, and she never went to the gym before meeting me. I mean, she did, but like maybe just like on the treadmill or something. She hadn't touched weights. And since she met me, she was like, "Can I come to the gym with you?" Because I never once asked her if she would come to the gym with me. That's the last thing I want to do is, you know, someone meets me, I'm like, right, you must go to the gym now. I'm not about that, but she wanted to. She loves it, and every day she comes home from work now, she's like, "Are we going to the gym tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah.
But like, even if I've trained already in that day, I'll still go again just to be there with her. And I'll not train myself, but I'm like, just with her.
But you see, that's the level of effort most people, like the fact that you would go twice says a lot about you as a man.
I don't just sit at home like, "Oh no, I'm watching the game. I'll see you when you get back." You know, it's one of those things. So as well, like, imagine if your wife came up to you and said, I don't know, "Danny, do you want to go to the movies?" And you're like, "Nah, there's nothing good on." But she really wanted to see a movie. She's instantly going to walk away with you and like, "Okay, well, you know."
Yeah.
But then you come home and you're like, "Oh, Susie, do you want to come to the football game? Look, I've got these tickets. I can't believe it." And she's like, "Nah, I'm not going to that shit game." It's the same feeling. You know, you have to put in mutual effort. And I find as well, like, you know, I can talk from experience because I used to be like this with my ex. She would want to do a lot of things, and I would always say no to it. Not in a nasty way, no, fuck off. I was like, nah, it's not really my thing.
Yeah.
I would try and be nice about it, but I was still disappointing her. The times I did say yes, I ended up having a good time anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So I think it's just that comfort thing again. Like,
yeah,
I feel
you
like
gotta have a
people are getting
balance.
too comfortable at home. They don't want to do anything. And ultimately, like, you're living the same day every single day.
It's like Groundhog Day relationships.
That's what it is. I truly feel like that's what it is. People are just living the same day every single day. And after 10 years of it, one of you is just going to get sick of it.
Yeah, well, the average relationship is 11.9 years, I think it is, something like that. But it's funny because one of the things that I love hearing about is men's testosterone, and it doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, this is a big one, actually.
So it's like, obviously after a certain age, men's testosterone naturally drops off, which is obviously around that sort of the mid to late 40s age, right? But funnily enough, now younger people are reporting less and less testosterone levels. Like, we have less testosterone than our grandfathers did.
Do you know why?
Multiple reasons, but what reason would you say?
It's mainly what we're consuming.
Yeah, I was going to say
90%
food.
of it is.
It's weird
water.
Foods. Yeah, it's
everything.
Well, the plastics and tap water apparently.
Not just plastics, mate. It's unbelievable. If you actually research what's in our very healthy Northumberland tap water, you'll be shocked.
Yeah,
shocked. It's unbelievable. I used to drink tap water for my whole life. I have Robinson's tap water.
Bit of cordial, yeah.
Until I started actually looking into it, and you know, actually had a friend who worked for Northumberland Water, and he said, "Mate, stay away from it." Then I started really going down the rabbit hole of why. Just on tap water, I spent weeks researching it, and I would never touch it again. But ultimately, everything that we're consuming is, I'm not going to say designed to lower our testosterone, but it is lowering our natural testosterone.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
but the testosterone is what makes effort feel good. It's what gives men a drive. And when you lower that, that's why you're getting all these depressed men, these antisocial men, the men who don't want to do anything. Focus, it's literally relies, like women's hormones, I think I talked about a lot.
Yeah.
Men's hormones completely ignored for the most part, right? You hear briefly, you know, TRT or whatever is sort of coming into the limelight now, and I'm excited for when my testosterone drops and start getting injections in my arse of TRT, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'll be bench pressing fucking, you know, 6 plates aside or whatever, you know what I mean? I'll be yeah, well, fingers crossed. But it's like, it is a massive thing, and I think men listening especially, need to be more aware of their testosterone levels. Like, if you are feeling depressed, weak, like you haven't got much drive, get it checked. Yes. You know, or at least if you're not even lifting and you're not eating right, if you're eating right, and you're lifting and you still feel a bit wrong, get it checked. But
there's so much you can do by having a simple blood test.
Yeah,
there's so much you can change. You know, if you've got like deficiencies of a certain thing and you fix it, you'll be shocked at how much you feel better. But test is huge. If you've got low testosterone levels, you'll know about it. But if you're used to having low testosterone levels and you feel normal, and then suddenly your testosterone levels increase, you've got superpowers, you're a god, you feel unbelievable, you're untouchable.
Like I can hear colours as well. Yeah.
But no, it's very true. Our diets now are shocking compared to how they used to be back in the day. We're getting cancers, we're getting diseases, we're getting a lot of inflammation related diseases, and it's all because of what we're eating. But as well with that is reduced testosterone. I'm not going to say the company names, but there's some fast food companies out there that have estrogen in their meats. Like I said, there's most things we're eating now are chemically changed. Back to the oils. If you look at how these oils are produced, sunflower, rapeseed, you know, whatever, seed oils, you will run from the hills if you actually like look into it and never have it again. That's another thing that's fucking your body up. Simple changes to your diet will make significant changes to your body.
Yeah, agreed.
Seriously. So you can still eat the same things, but just minor changes. Like if I gave you a steak and one was cooked in sunflower oil and one was cooked in olive oil, I don't think you could really tell me the difference, you know, because at the end of the day, the steak is a steak and it's going to be seasoned and everything. But what you've cooked it in is making a huge difference to your internal system. But yeah, no, diet can make a dramatic change. And the thing is as well, going back to the masking with tablets, so most people will, you know, they'll go and say if they're lacking in vitamin C, they'll go and buy these vitamin C dissolvable tablets. Do you know what's in those dissolvable tablets? There's like 100 ingredients of bulking agents and all sorts of shit to make it fizzy and flavorful and yummy, and sugars. Sugar's the worst thing you can put in your body. Like it's one of them anyway. But next to it is pure 100% vitamin C tablet. But people are choosing the nice, tasty, yummy, dissolvable ones because it's nice and it's not a pill to swallow. But that's not going to do anything. It's actually going to make it worse.
And then they'll go, well, it was cheaper. And it's like,
But, you know, I think if people can be educated more on the diet and what they're putting in the body and actually go ahead and go with it for a bit, you're going to see weight loss, muscle increase, stamina increase, endurance, happiness, focus, rest. Everything will get better, you know. And hair growth.
I think I'm past that point of hair growth. Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Like your beard will be thicker, man. Like your dick will be working better. Just everything, man. Like straight up, you know, what we're putting in our body is essentially what's fueling our whole life. Not just physical strength, mental focus. Like I say, people who have sleep issues and insomnia will be because of their diet. So they'll go out and buy tablets to help them sleep, but they're not fixing the root issue. You know?
I agree.
It can all be fixed through lifestyle change. It can. Yeah. But like I said, we've become these people now where if you compare yourself now to your grandfather, the difference in your lifestyle versus his is dramatic. Yeah. And it is dramatic. You know, he doesn't have a fancy iPhone and he isn't spending all day scrolling like this.
Taking in that much information,
When he goes out for a meal, he's engaging in full, meaningful, deep, detailed conversations. He's not leaving the shortcuts. Like if my friends were saying, oh, I went to London, I saw my family and I came home, it was great. He would be like, oh, well, so we stopped off at this station when we got a coffee and it was fantastic. And why we're having that coffee is, you know.
You're engaged with life,
So there's huge differences in how we act and our grandparents act. And if you could take a little bit from their book and apply it to yourself, especially with their diet, my grandparents always ate very clean foods. Always. I never saw. When was the last time you saw an old person eat a Twix?
I don't spy on old people, but I know what you mean.
You see them eat like Werther's Originals and stuff. You know what I mean? Like you'll walk along, no one's vaping, no one's doing all this stupid shit, and eating proper junk food. They eat what? Right, I want to play a little game. What would you say a typical meal for your grandparents would be? I want to see if it's the same.
Oh God, very small portions to be fair.
Like the food itself. What would a typical meal in the household be?
For my grandparents, it was always for some reason I always remember this. It was always a fuckload of peas. I don't know why. It was just a fuckload of peas, and it was like some sort of carbohydrate, like it was either like a jagged potato thing.
Yes, I was going to say meat and 2 veg.
Basically, basically it was very simple. Yeah,
basic simple food. And that's why they're healthy. They're good. They're strong. Like my grandfather, he was a professional gardener, and he retired when he was like 77. And that guy put in graft, 70 odd. I know people now in their 30s as strong as me who couldn't do that. I mean, he used to take me with him when I was like in my early 20s to help him out sometimes.
Garden's hard graft. It's fucked. Our dad's a gardener as well. Yeah.
But then we'd go out for a meal, and he would go home and he would have boiled potatoes with like lamb and some veg. And I remember eating the Greggs, and that's the difference, Yeah. So like, it's funny that you're saying like as time's going on, men's testosterone levels are dropping and dropping. It's because of what we're eating. We're lazy fucks. Stop being lazy. Don't go to fast food places. Don't go to Greggs. Put some fucking effort into your food. Do something about your exercise and just do something. Because ultimately, I'm being really polite here and like, oh yeah, everyone's like, just get a grip. If you sat at home complaining that you're weak, you're tired, you're unmotivated, you're not doing anything, get the fuck up. Change your diet, do something about it, because ultimately, at the end of the day, nobody else cares. Only you can fix this. If you're going on to everybody saying, I'm unhappy, I'm not feeling good and all this, people will constantly give you advice. They will support you. They'll say, I'm here for you. They will tell you what to do, but only you can do it.
Yeah.
And I am sick of people complaining that they're unhappy with their physical bodies, with their mental states, when the answers are out there.
Yeah.
I say as well, like with my coaching, typically I charge £150 a month. With that, you have my WhatsApp. You have access to me 24 hours, well, except when I'm asleep.
Yeah.
If I'm awake, you can text me. You can voice message me. You can send me updates. You have any questions, I'm there. With all this knowledge, I'm providing you all of the answers on how to change your body, your lifestyle, to get you fitter, stronger, healthier, happier, sleep better, relationships better. You're more motivated for the gym, more motivated for life, for work, whatever it is, I'm there for you. And people are like, oh, £150 for a month, it's ridiculous. If you think about it, that's less than a pint a day.
Yeah, it's an investment as well at the end of the day.
You're happy to go out and have a pint every single day, which adds up to way more than 150 quid a month in most of these places now. But you can't spend a little bit on a coach or an educator or anything to improve your life. I have, multiple times in my life, I've paid good money for gurus, coaches, people who are really knowledgeable and I trust. They have excelled me to places now where I wouldn't have been without.
Yeah.
And it's just like I'm not coming on here to promote myself. If you know somebody near you, whether it's a gym, £20 a month, or whether it's a nutritionist or anything that can help you actually grow, give it a go. But you have to put in the effort. Otherwise, yes, you are wasting your money. Because I see people all the time say, oh yeah, I had a coach, but it didn't work for me. No, you didn't work for you. You were the lazy one that didn't work. I've seen this with exes, for example. They hired a coach because I wasn't good enough, apparently, because, it's like one of those things. You don't listen to your parents.
Yeah, you don't listen.
I understood that.
Yeah,
so I recommended a coach. They wouldn't do any of it. They sent them the plans, and then they just did their own thing. And I'm like, sat there like, you just paid £200 for what?
Yeah. People are just throwing money at their problems, and it doesn't work that way. You've got to do it. And most of the time, when you pay money, you pay attention. Yeah. And I think the more you pay, the more you invest, the more likely you are going to do it. Like £20, nothing. Yeah. Right? Or £150 coaching with accountability.
You still get it. Like, I had a guy signed up 2 days ago. 2 days ago, I know him. He's a PJ Pro golfer. He wants to lose weight. I texted him. Said, hey mate, I'm super excited to work with you. I've got a full plan set up for you. I can guarantee you will lose 1 stone in a week. Because he's a big lad, and he will lose a stone in a week if he follows this. I'm positive. So day 1, he's super motivated. He's got all his meals prepped. He's sending me pictures. I'm voice messaging back and forth. And day 2, he sent me his weight in the morning. He dropped 2 pounds. Great. Day 3, he dropped another 3 pounds. Mint. Day 4, no update in the morning. So I waited. I thought, okay, I'll wait a few hours. It's 11 a.m. I'm like, he's definitely awake now. No update. 1 a.m. 1 p.m. Sorry. I'm like, Have you sent me your updates? What was your weight this morning? Oh, sorry, mate, I forgot. Blah, blah. And then at the end of the day, no more updates. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I text him again. Hey, how was today? How was your food? Just checking in on you. Just being supportive. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to have 2 meals. My job got in the way. And I was like, mate, like realistically, if you do prep meals, it takes 2 minutes to eat it.
Yeah.
I'm not having a go at you. I'm not attacking you, but it's for you. This is for you. The next day, bang on in the morning, wait again, meals prepped again. And I think it's just those little things. Like, it is a difficult thing, and I'm having to go at people for being lazy and stuff, because ultimately that's what it is.
Yeah,
I'm fucking lazy a lot of the time, and I always tell myself off. But having that support around you and somebody to lift you up is crucial.
Yeah.
So
it's accountability. They hold you to what you said you would do.
Yeah, massive. But most coaches now, for example, will send you a plan and say, check in with me every Friday. Like, these slimming worlds do my head in.
Oh, God.
You know, people pay good money.
Yeah.
They go, they train, and they're basically paying to be made to be told they're doing a good job. They'll lose 2 pounds in a week, which is nothing. Like, if I go to the toilet, I'll lose that, you know. They'll train hardcore for a week of the slimming world and stuff, but the results aren't showing, but they're feeling great because they're being told by these professionals, you're doing such a good job.
They're being sold feelings, not results. Yeah.
It really upsets me, actually. But no, I think support is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You could have all the answers, but if you don't have that support and that person who's like lifting you up and saying, come on, I've got your back.
Yeah.
Don't give up. You got this. Then ultimately that person will quit. So I've had coaches in the past when I was younger where they would send me all of the plans, like all the nutrition, the diet, the training, you know, everything I need to build this physique, but they lacked the communication between.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would speak to them maybe once a week, and when I did, it was like, hey, this is how I look, this is what I've been doing. I'd send them a full report, and they would just be like, okay, good, continue. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
that's not what I paid you for. Yeah.
Well, you know,
thing is, you can go on Google and get a diet plan.
That's exactly right. Anyone on this podcast listening can go and research what they need for their body. You know, if you just type in fact, I'll tell you how to naturally raise your testosterone levels, how to naturally burn fat, how to build muscle, you know, tips and tricks for diet to make my body alkaline, how to reduce inflammation in my body. Research these things and really research them. Mm-hmm. And if you can apply these lessons you'll see online, you will be happier, stronger, healthier.
Agreed.
But having somebody there to support you through that and say, come on, mate, pull your finger out a little bit and give it a little bit more effort. I've got you. And, you know, then that makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Huge difference.
100%. You need someone over your shoulder, like the devil on your shoulder, you know what I mean?
It's the same for the gym. Like, if you have a spotter, what is a spotter? It's just somebody who stands there and waits for you to nearly die and saves you. Like, say with bench pressing, you're about to fail, and then they grab it and stop you, like, from hurting yourself.
Choking yourself out.
Or is a good spotter somebody who pushes you to do more than you wouldn't by yourself. Mm-hmm. So if we train together and you did 10 reps and I see that you got 5 more, I'm going to make you do 5 more. Yeah. Even if you're like, no, I'm done. I will make you do 5 more. And then after those 5, you're like, yeah, thanks, bro. I needed that.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good spotter. You lift each other up and encourage each other to do more. Yeah. Because ultimately, that's what you're there for.
Yeah. My old trainer used to do that. We used to do, we used to finish off more sessions with planks. And he always had a clipboard. He was always marking everything down. And he used to, did you train at the old Vision gym where it was like a shitty little warehouse one?
Next to the medical center.
Yeah, and it was like next to the fire stations, just down from it. It was like a little one. It wasn't the big one it is now, but the little one. It was like this freezing cold little shed. Basically, it was tiny. But my trainer there was sat like near the row machines and stuff, and he would hold his pen from his clipboard underneath my stomach while I was doing planks. He's like, I know you can hold out for 30 more seconds. Yeah. I'm like, I'm dying. And he's like, no, I'm not moving this pen. You fall. Yeah. You're going to fall on this fucking pen. I'd like to think he would move the pen.
Yeah, of course,
but that mental image of just me impaling myself on a pen, it really made us do it. And you know what? I got abs from it.
I was going to say, but did you feel better for it after those 30 seconds? Like,
yeah.
Were you happy that he did that?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. That's what I paid him for. Yeah, that's what I wanted someone. It was, you tried your best. I can get that from my parents, man. You tried your best. If I'm going to pay a coach or a mentor or someone, I want them to be hard as fuck with me, because that's what most people need.
I always tell people, because I get so many questions like from every country, people saying, how long should I train? How many sets should I do? How many reps should I do? I always say, all you need to do is work as hard as you can until when you leave the gym, you're satisfied.
Yeah.
If you're not satisfied when you leave, get back in.
Yeah.
Or try again the next day. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, we've all had those days. Don't get me wrong, when we leave, I'm like, I could have done more. But you might be physically drained. You might not have enough sleep. And I get it. We all live lives. Not every day is going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Go home, understand and acknowledge that you could have done more. learn from that, go back in the next day and change it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Right.
yeah, I always just say, like, don't set too many goals, because if you go into the numbers of training, like, I need to do this many sets, this many reps, there's a dramatic difference between diet and training in terms of like hitting the nail on the head. So with dieting, it is very scientific, very mathematical. You know, you can actually
there is a science to losing weight.
put your diet down to the gram if need be. With training, however, it's a little bit more difficult. So a lot of the times my clients, I actually get them to FaceTime me when they're training, and I'll see how they're lifting. I'll see their form. I'll see how much they're pushing themselves on machines. So like, say you're on a chest press machine, you can't, you know, you can't essentially kill yourself on that. Like if you're doing a flat bench press, free weight, you have to re-rack it at some point. If you get stuck, then you know, that's not, but with machines, you can really push yourself to your limits. So I like to see how far their limits are and then say, okay, mate, you got 5 more in you. And then they do 5 more. Like, oh my God, I didn't realize I could do that.
Yeah.
So when I say with people with training is just push yourself as far as possible until you really feel it, until it's like unbearably painful.
Yeah.
Leave the gym feeling super satisfied. If you're like, wow, I crushed it today. If you have that feeling, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Go home, recover, put your feet up, play some video games, eat your food, get your nutrition in, rest. Great. But yeah, like I say, if you go to the gym, you do a little bit here, you talk for the most of the session, you scroll in on between sets, and you leave the gym like, nah, that was all right, then that's what you need to change.
Better off doing 40 minutes of intense work than an hour and a half of bullshit, really.
I don't think I've trained longer than 45 minutes in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's funny, actually, I've got a lot of stories about this, because people like my dad's age and stuff, like, because I see my dad a lot, I see my mum a lot. I'm always visiting them, and I see their friends a lot. And for those who don't fully know me, they'll say, oh, how long are you in the gym for? I say, oh, maybe half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm like, what? Well, I could do that. So then I say, okay, then come and do it with me. And I've had people come and do it with me, and after 2 minutes, they're like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm done. I take back everything I said. You know, and it's really funny. I think the best one I had was a young lad who was a rugby player, cocky as anything, super arrogant, 16, 17 years old. And he gets it from his parents. His parents are a little bit, you know, like the middle upper class who think they're better than everybody, you know.
And you were about to show him that he wasn't.
Well, it was his mum's fault. His mum set him up, and he was like, "Oh, he's the hardest worker on the rugby pitch. No one can keep up with him. He's the strongest. He's this and the other." Like, oh. And I'm just like, "Oh, great,
yeah,
cool. It sounds like a beast." And then she's like, "Oh, well, you know, because she's a family friend, and she was like, would it be okay if he came to the gym with you?" And I was like, "Well, you know, part of me is thinking like, I don't think that's a good idea." But the other half of me is like, "Yeah, of course, like being polite and nice." But then he's like, "Yeah, I can keep up with you no matter what it is." I was like, "Are you sure?"
Bring it.
And he's like, yeah. I was like, "Okay, well, I'm training legs tomorrow if you want to join me." He's like, yeah, easy. I was like, easy. I was like, "Mate, after 5 minutes, you'll be crippled." He's like, nah, it'll be easy. That anyway, went to the gym, went to Evolution Gym, Bedlington, great gym, and started on pendulum squats. You know, so it's like a machine where you have your back against like a flat pad, hold on to a bar, and you squat down into like a pendulum motion. Really hard machine. I will give him credit. He did everything I said, to the point where I had to literally pull him back up because his legs couldn't move.
Fuck.
After 10 minutes, he was white. He couldn't, like, he was spewing, you know. But he did the full session because I made him. I was like, you know what it is? You're going to be cocky with me and arrogant in front of my family. I'm not going to be nice and say you're done. You're going to keep going. He was ruined, man.
It's just the fact that you took him for leg day as well, which is even funnier.
It's easy. So we only did half an hour, literally 30 minutes. We did pendulum squats, hack squats straight after that, and then into quad extensions and hamstring curls. That's it. 4 exercises, but extremely intense. Drop sets, fucking negatives, everything till failure. Every single set till failure. I mean, I was fucked. It was a great workout. I loved it. But he couldn't walk for a week. He couldn't go to school. His mum rang my mum saying he's in bed. He couldn't go to sixth form. He was really bad shape. It took him a week to recover. And then I seen him out in a restaurant. So I went out for some food, and he was sitting there with his family. And he came up to me, and he just went, "I'm sorry." Because he wasn't the smartest guy, bless him. He just went, "I'm sorry I said I could keep up," or something. And anyway, I could see his dad was like proper wiping his eyes, laughing at the table. But I've got one more story about that. So this is my all-time favorite story. because it was actually just. I was in the Netherlands at Gold's Gym in a place called Nieuwegein with my best mate Nick, he's a beast, big guy, Nick Van Drie. I don't know if you could like find a picture of him or something, but he's
still one.
And a client of mine called Sylvester, young guy, really energetic, really hyper. Like he loves the gym. He's super enthusiastic about training, and he trained hard. Like he did. I give him all this credit when he every time he came and trained with us, he pushed himself to his limit. Until one day, me and Nick were in there to train legs, and he just rocked up. I don't think he was supposed to be training with me that day, but he trained there anyway. And he's like, "Oh, can I jump in and train legs with you?" I was like, "Oh no, man, not today. Like we're going hard today." He's like, "Oh no, I'll keep up. I'll do what you guys do." And me and Nick kind of like look at each other, thinking like, "Should we fuck him up?" And Nick's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Okay." I warned him though, because I'm not a dick. I was like, "If you want to train with us, mate, you're gonna be ill. Like if you do what we do." And like, cause he's young, you know, like, I said, "You're going to be fucked, mate. Like really, really fucked." He said, no, I really want to, like, make me puke. I'm like, okay, that's the green light. So we started on hack squats, just hack squats. And I went first, and I'm like, "Nick, you know, cause I'm not going to be the guy who does like 10 reps and make him do 30. I was like, "Nick, you have to kill me today. Like, even if I say stop, make me do more."
Right.
She's like, "Yeah, sure, mate." I was like, "Yeah, but you have to do the same. Because if we're going to do this to him, it's only fair if we do this to ourselves." Like, so anyway, so I start, and my warm-up set was like 30 reps on the hack squat, which was, I mean, it was enough to make my legs burn, like super burn, but still fine. It was a warm-up set. Nick did 30, 35, and then Sylvester did about 20. Same weight, but, you know, he's much, much younger. And then we started the working sets, which was like, okay, game time. So I did like 15, like real good hard reps, and then the last 5 were assisted with Nick helping me up. I was doing the negatives, he was lifting it up. I re-racked it, and then I'm like on the floor on my hands and knees. Then it was Nick's turn, same thing, 15, 20. He's a bit stronger than me. And I think I got like 10 extra reps out of him. Like really, he's screaming like, "Fuck!" Like dying on this hack squat. And then Sylvester comes up and he does 10, and he like racks it, and I'm like, no. So then we made him really, really go to failure, but we didn't push him past, like, we weren't being mean to him. We did exactly
you were trying to help at the same time, but
with each other, me and Nick. Pushed him to his limits. Once he hit absolute failure, we racked it. He's on the floor, he's like shaking, but he's loving it. He's like, "Yes, this is great." But then we did another set. Same thing, same intensity. He gets up, runs to the toilet, and I filmed it. I've still got, I think I could send you this if you want to use this. He's just puking in this toilet, right? And then I come in with the camera just as he's finished puking, and he's like, "Bah!" And he comes up, he's like, he's so happy that he's puked. It's the first time he's puked in the gym. So for him, it's like a big achievement. He's like, "Yes, I've puked." So anyway, he at that moment thought he was finished the workout because he puked. I was like, "Mate, we've just started."
You've got another 3 pukes in you.
So anyway, cut a long story short, we trained so fucking hard. We did just normal exercise like quad extensions on machine, like hamstring curls, things like after the hack squats, we didn't do any more like heavy pressing. We didn't do any like normal squats or anything like ridiculous. Like it was just a normal workout, but extremely intense.
Yeah, remind me never to train with you again. I feel like you just love crippling kids at this point.
No, but he asked for it. He genuinely, like I say, he puked and he loved it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we finished the workout, and I mean, we are all fucked, all of us. I mean, Nick's like sitting outside for fresh air because he felt sick. I felt sick. Like I usually would get a shake straight afterwards at the bar, and like told the guys I couldn't. I had to sit outside, like because I thought I was going to puke as well. And Sylvester's just sat in the corner with his hood up, just like being by himself. So I was like, okay, I'll go and check on him. So even at this point, I'm like, "Mate, are you good?" He's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, "Okay, just checking on you, mate. I'm going to go outside because I'm fucked." So anyway, I'm outside with Nick. And then my girl's ready. She's like, "Okay, can we go?" I'm like, yeah. So I go back in to see Sylvester to say, "Oh, we're going. I hope, you know, just relax. Put your feet up. Take it easy tonight. Get your meals in. Recover." He's not there. So I'm like, okay. I text him saying, "Hey, mate, I've got to go. I'll see you tomorrow."
Yeah.
I get a call from the owner of the gym. He's like, "Zach, what has happened?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean what's happened?" He goes, "There's an ambulance here." I'm like, "What?" The kid had a panic attack because his legs were so bad. And he said he felt so sick and dizzy. He had a panic attack and called an ambulance. The ambulance people came. They're like, they literally just said, like, because I had it on speaker, because Rob, the owner, was like, he didn't know what to do. He had the people on ambulance and like, "Oh, hi, we're just here with Sylvester. we've told him there's nothing to worry about. He's just exhausted. So anyway, it was like kind of a false alarm call.
Fucking hell.
They gave him some, what are those sweets called? They're like sugary sweets. Anyway, gave him like these little sugary tablets.
Yeah.
He instantly perked up and he was like shaking their hands and stuff, saying that he had the best workout of his life.
I like the sound of
And
this
then
guy.
he called me like 10 minutes later. He's like, hey, the ambulance came for me and I feel great. I'm like, fucking hell. But
I wonder if his attitude's still the same now.
he's a great guy. Yeah, he's a very enthusiastic young kid.
Nice, man.
But yeah, we don't really speak much now because I'm in a different country. But
He's probably fucking terrified of you.
He
Yeah.
was so proud of that workout. So me and Nick went the next day to train chest, and he came walking in with a big smile on his face, and he's like, "I told you I could do it." I was like, "Mate, fair play." And me and Nick were like, "Yeah, you fucking killed it, man!" Like,
Nice.
literally.
And you respect that day.
Oh,
Yeah,
mate, massively.
100%.
But like I said, there's a difference between me killing that kid here who was really cocky and arrogant and saying I can do everything versus this guy genuinely wanting to experience like hardcore workout.
Yeah.
But no, that's just my favorite story because like he puked, he loved it, and then an ambulance ended up
That's a
coming
good
'cause he
one,
had a
man.
panic attack.
Some people
Bless
might call him crazy, but
he's
yeah,
nuts.
definitely.
He's fucking nuts, but in such a nice way. But yeah, it's just my favorite. That's probably my favorite gym story, though, man. Just
Sweet, man.
I mean,
nice.
who calls an ambulance and loves it? Like, I mean, if I was there, I would have stopped it from happening. I would reassured him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just exhausted. Like he was very dizzy, and it's normal. Like I feel like I'm sometimes going to pass out.
Yeah. Happens.
But for a 19-year-old who's never had that before, I can imagine it can be quite scary. So,
yeah, definitely.
like I said, I'd already left at that point. So.
Yeah, man. Well, one thing I really wanted to touch on as well is your friendship with Wim Hof as well. So obviously you guys became quite good friends, but I've read something that you guys actually broke a world record.
Oh yeah,
as well. Can you can you talk about that? Because I've seen the clips as well. I was like, can you talk about that?
Yeah, that was my favorite moment ever. And I've had some fucking amazing moments in my life, but this one it meant so much to me. So, can you remember before how I said I had idols that were from RuneScape?
Mm-hmm.
My biggest idol ever growing up was a guy called Yogo-san, who he used to compete in the high scores to be rank 1 from like 2005. Anyway, the reason he was my idol was because he used to make YouTube videos of his progress in RuneScape. And he used to use trance and hardstyle in his videos.
Right.
So back when I was like 10 years old, 11 years old, the only like music I'd ever heard of was what was played on the radio or was on CDs from my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So like I used to like Moby, Fatboy Slim, something that had a bit of a beat to it, but I never heard of anything else other than like what was played at school or you know, on the radio. So it was always like the Spice Girls and shit. Until one day, this guy on YouTube, Yogo-san, in his videos was playing hardstyle and trance. And I was like, what is this? What is this music? It's unbelievable. And I used to full volume speak, like literally having like proper rave to myself in my bedroom. And I would wait every single week for this guy to release a new video because every video was trance and hardstyle. So my love for hardstyle and trance began in like 2005 because of this guy.
Right,
you know, I used to listen to Headhunters, Airbase. Like those two guys were my all-time favorites ever.
Mm-hmm.
I can honestly say I've got both of their WhatsApps now, and we're good friends.
Nice.
Like I've got some unbelievable stories. With these two guys, I idolized my whole life, and it's all because of RuneScape. It's amazing. But
so, guys, if you want to be successful, play RuneScape. It's the key. Yeah.
But no, so anyway, it's a very long story, but that was where my passion for music came from.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to be a DJ. I became a DJ at 15. Like a week before my 16th birthday, I was playing in Morpeth, in some clubs in Morpeth on a Thursday night for £40 a night, using a fake ID. By the time I was 18, I was working abroad. But then I took many years off that because of the alcohol and stuff that came with it.
Yeah.
But then, I moved to the Netherlands. It was Headhunters himself who invited me to go to one of his gigs, which was the first time in like years and years and years I'd been at any sort of rave. Went with him, you know, met my idol. And it's really funny because I've met so many famous people like Arnold, and the list goes on and on and on.
How was it for Arnold to compliment your biceps, by the way?
It was cool. It was cool, yeah.
That was the most humble way to say that I've ever heard.
I wasn't like, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't like, oh my God.
Yeah.
When I met Headhunters and went to his house, and I was sat in his house, and he made me coffee, and we were going to have breakfast. I was sat there like, what do I say? What do I do? Like, because to him it was just like a normal interaction with you know, someone like-minded who was into fitness and music. But he didn't know at the time. He was literally like this guy I listened to every single day in school and at home, like religiously, his songs on loop for hours and hours and hours for like 10 plus years. And all of a sudden I'm with him in his house. I was just, I fangirled massively until I just said, mate, I'm not going to lie, I'm fangirling a bit here. Like, I don't know what to say. And he just started laughing. But yeah, so it was because of him I actually went to the Netherlands the first time and discovered what that lifestyle was like.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing. Everybody's partying all the time, but in such a nice, happy way. There's no fights, there's no drama, there's no nothing. It's my scene, my type of music. I loved it. Ended up moving out there. And then, I met Wim Hof. The origin of meeting him was because of my ex. She was diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah, you were researching the methods how to...
I wanted to help her with it. And his method came up for increasing white blood cells, which is what she actually needed as well. So I reached out to him on Instagram. It was his son who replied saying, hey, we'd love to help. Give my dad a call. I called Wim. We went to his house. We met him. And he was instantly fascinated by me, as well as his primary goal was to help Melody. He was like, man, I want to look like you. Like, he's really, like, he's this very eccentric, excited guy.
Yeah.
Do you know how most people are on camera? They're like very enthusiastic, and as soon as they're off camera, they're very reserved.
Yeah.
Wim's like the opposite. He's like very professional and like happy going on camera. As soon as he's off, he's like, yeah, everything's great. You know, he's the happiest, most just amazing person that I've ever met. I just love him. I truly love him. So yeah, he was like, hey, so after the whole Melody thing, and we discussed the plan on how to, help her. He was like, you got to come back here. We got to train, man. We got to train. And so I went round, met him, and I'm like, okay, he wants to look like me. He wants to do what I do. He had weights in his house, like homemade weights. He had like this big extension cable over a tree where you could do like back pull downs and triceps.
That's cool.
Brilliant. All made out of rocks and sticks.
That's pretty cool.
Epic. He used to call them the Flynn stones because of big stones. He's the pun master. If you ever meet him, he'll 100 puns a minute. Anyway, I get to his house and it's the middle of like December or something, January. It's freezing, it's snowing and everything. And he has this like homemade waterfall in his garden that was frozen over. So it was freezing.
Yeah.
And I'd never done any sort of like ice stuff before. I tried the showers, but even the showers would take my breath away.
Yeah.
And he stood there in his shorts next to the pool. He's like, hey, let's go. And I'm like, okay, what we're doing. He's like, come on, let's go. And he just doesn't tell me what we're doing. I'm still fully dressed, just got out of the car. And he walks into his pool. I'm like, I'm going to die. Ooh. I'm going to die. If I do this, like, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And I was with another guy called Storm, who's a friend of mine from over there. Epic name, Storm. But he had done this training for a long time. He was very used to cold exposure. So he follows Wim in. And I'm like, in my head, I can't do this.
Yeah.
There's just no way. So I'm like, right, fuck it. It's Wim Hof.
Yeah, you've got to do what he says.
This is an opportunity millions of people would kill for. I've got to do it. So I get in, I get up to my waist. And at this point, like, the pain in my legs is just excruciating. And I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. So anyway, I'm like, well, fuck it, 1, 2, 3. I get under, takes my breath away. He can see that I'm physically in pain, but I'm thinking, if he can see I'm pushing through this, I'll gain his respect.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's like, right, we're going to do 300 strokes at this pool, but I misheard because he meant strokes like 1, 2. I thought lengths. I'm like, I'm dead. This is it. This is it. I'm going to either be a pussy and get out early or I'm going to die. So I was like, right, no matter what, I'm going to do this. But then he's counting like 1, 2. I'm like, oh, okay, it's going to be quicker than I think. So anyway, he's going really slow, like 1, 2, and I'm behind him, 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, trying to get it over with. But anyway,
counting in twos.
Cut a long story short, I did it and get out. Well, I tried to get out. I couldn't actually lift my legs up onto the steps. I was just numb, completely frozen. But must have been in there for 10 minutes. I had this big line across like my neck from where the water was. Like my whole body was super red. Getting the sauna, and I had this massive panic attack. It was the strangest feeling I'd ever experienced in my life. Going in from like 1 degree water into 100 degree sauna. You could feel the cold blood circulating internally as your surface temperature was hot.
Yeah.
I could feel the blood circulating in my heart. Honestly, I was tripping. I was like, what is going on? This is horrible. Am I going to die? And then I started to have this panic attack, and he just put his hand on me. He looked me in the eyes like, in 2 minutes, you'll be absolutely normal. Better than ever. Just breathe with me. So we're breathing, calm down. After 2 minutes, I was perfect. Felt amazing. Never better in my life. And then from that moment, he just told me, say, I have so much respect for you. I saw how difficult that was, and you persevered, you pushed through it. You're a man, you're a monster, I love you. And he starts punching the wall in the soil. He's like, yeah, we're going to train every day. And then I was like, okay, for a bit like, I just couldn't process
overwhelmed
this,
by it, I
just
imagine.
met Wim Hof, an idol of mine, and then all of a sudden he's like asking me to be his training partner.
Nice. I saw you doing, he sat on your back where you did push-ups and shit, so that's fucking cool.
We became really good friends. I was going to his house like almost every single day.
Yeah.
And of course, he was always filming. He had celebrities there all the time, doing podcasts and all sorts. And I just, kept away. And his son, Aynam, he runs like the whole business side of things and all the podcasts, and makes sure his dad's, doing everything correctly and stuff. And massive respect for him. And he always respected me too, because he just saw that, I was never trying to be there for any particular reason. I wasn't trying to get anything out of his dad. I was literally just there to have a nice time with him, to train and just to be friends. And
you weren't walking around filming his house and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, Wim always sings and he always hums. And he does like this throat singer stuff like in the sauna and stuff. Really cool. I'm like, man, like your voice is epic. You've got to do something with this. He's like, yeah, I want to do it. I want to sing for the whole world. And I'm like, well, why don't we? So I just thought, I was like, you know what it is? I've got so many friends that are big time hardstyle producers that play in front of like 50, 80,000 people in the biggest shows in the Netherlands and Tomorrowland and stuff. Like, why don't I just like ask one of them if they want to work with Wim Hof? And one of my closest friends in the world, Vita, I love him. His name's DJ named Psychopunks. He's massively into this sort of stuff anyway, like breathing and yoga and meditation and being very spiritual, open-minded. Like, he's all about it. So I called him. I was like, hey, Wim Hof wants to make a song. Are you down? He's like, fuck yeah, I'm down. Like, so, because we'd made one before in lockdown. So then I was like, right, why don't we go to his house together? We'll talk to him, come up with a plan. Yeah. And I already had this idea in my mind of what I wanted to do. So I was like kind of like the director of this thing. Wim's the voice, and Vita is the producer. Like without Vita, we couldn't have done any of this. He put so much time into this; it was unbelievable. So we're in the sauna and we're talking about ideas. I'm like, you know what it is, guys? Like, the world needs to change. The world needs to breathe. The world needs to like relax a bit and like calm down and like just be within. I'm thinking, should we make a song has a part of the song where the breathing's in it, so you can like just chill before this big drop. And the idea of this song, The Alchemist, came alive. So it's like the alchemist is like, you're the alchemist of your own body. You can alkalize your body and all this. So we made this song, and it was just epic. We had like maybe 10 different versions of it, but the final version, which we played at DEF CON, is this hard style song with a hard beat. It's very uplifting. It's very nice, but it has Wim's breathing method in it. And the idea was to set a world record for the most people simultaneously, consciously breathing at the same time. Because obviously, if you got 80,000 people, they're going to be breathing. Yeah. This was like a synchronized breathing. 80,000 people were doing this breathing method. It was fucking epic, And
so you were jumping on stage and stuff, filming. I saw that. I was like, that's amazing.
Me and Vita were on this balcony above the crowd at the back, where we could see the stage in front of us. So you got the stage with Wim on it, because Wim's doing it for the music video, the dancing and the breathing and stuff.
Yeah.
Then you have 80,000 people. And then you have this big balcony at the back where we were. So we could see the crowd and then the stage and all the lights. And I was crying my eyes out. And it was so amazing, months of work to see it come to life. But not only that, my dream as a kid was to go to DEF CON. Yeah. My dream was to go to this like epic party. Tomorrowland and DEF CON were the two ones I wanted to go to. And, for being my second DEF CON ever, my first one I went with Headhunters, and I got backstage access, and it was like living the dream. I couldn't believe it. I'm there. Not only there, this Dream Festival, I'm there with like my idol. It was just amazing. Yeah, man. But the second one, not only was I back at my Dream Festival, my song was played at the end show. Yeah. Which is the biggest part of the whole thing. It was just so overwhelming, and I'm stood there with like my best friend, and then I can see Wim on the stage, and it was just so unbelievably just amazing. But yeah, that's how that happened. But Wim is, hand on my heart, the nicest person you could ever meet.
Yeah, he seems really cool.
Nothing affects him. Money doesn't affect him. Fame doesn't affect him. He is who he is. he's the most humble, beautiful soul in the world, in existence. And if any of you guys have the chance to meet him or do his courses, do it.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, do it. They're the best things in the world. Like, I've done so many with him. Just from being there at the house, he's always asked me to just join in and stuff. Like, the environment and the atmosphere that you have, being with like 50 like-minded people, it's just life-changing. It actually is life-changing. You know, when I met him and I was at his place, he has this like homemade cliff in his garden.
Yeah.
With a little waterfall on it and stuff, and you can jump into the pool. The first time I was up there, I was so scared. And like, this is a guy who, as a teenager, would jump off anything, would climb anything. I used to do parkour and free running. Like, I was scared of nothing. But as time and age, you know, played a part in my life, I found that I've become weaker and more critical. Like, I critically
think things through a lot more. Yeah.
So I was stood on the top of this cliff, like thinking, oh, what if I hit the bottom? What if the cold affects me so much, I'll have a heart attack? What if all these different things?
Yeah.
And he just stared at me and screamed, went, "Stop fucking thinking, let it go." And I just like jumped off. And from that one moment, since then, which was like 4 years ago now, I've never thought the same again. Since that one moment, I found that like things in life that might be a challenge, this thinking part of my brain now is different to how it used to be. I don't overthink anything anymore. Life's so much more simple. If I come into an awkward situation with somebody at work, say your boss, the way I think about it now is so much different to how it would have been back then. And it's because of him. It really is. He's a fucking genius. I love him.
I've seen a lot of his content, and I'm always like, there's just something captivating about the guy. Like obviously, I think you've said it best, but it's just his energy, his vibe, just the way you want to be friends with him. That's the best part about it, and I love people like that, man.
He's a kid. He is
this is what he sounds like.
Who can speak 7 languages, and he's just unbelievable, honestly. But I think the best way to describe him is like literally a living, breathing, like shaman, guru, god.
Yeah,
I'm really putting him up there, but he is. He's just an incredible human being who will be remembered forever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm so honored and privileged to say that I'm a friend of his and spend time with him and learn from him and make that epic track with him.
Yeah, man. Well, to sort of round this up, if you had to sort of look back, I mean, obviously you've shaken hands with Jay Cutler, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you've met so many big people. You know, you've got books on Amazon and whatnot. Like, I read through a few of them guides as well. I was like, fair play. But you've definitely become a successful man. But what I want to know is, when you look back, if you had to narrow it down to like the one thing that was like the best part of your journey that frequently comes into your mind the most, what do you think of when you think of your journey? Like, how do you encapsulate that in your mind?
Just who I've become, like, as a whole. Like, I'm just happy, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm happy now. Like, throughout all the dark times and all the things that have been a big like factor in my life, like the bullying and then the depression and the mental health issues and the severe anxiety, the severe panic attacks, like all the shit that's happened. Like, I'm just so happy that I've came out on top of it.
Yeah.
That I've had a platform to speak about it too and educate people about it. When I look back, like if I look back at everything I've done, I don't think of like the great people I've met, like all these celebrities and all these famous people and all these amazing things I've done, like first class flights and fancy hotels and shit. I think of the people I've met. Like the first thing I thought of there was this kid in India who I met who walked 3 days to come and meet me. When he met me, he broke into tears crying and cuddling me because my transformation video changed his life. And I think of times like that. I think of all the people I've met at expos and in the gym and on the street who have came up to me like, "Hey, I love what you do." And I give them a cuddle. I'm like, "Mate, keep it up, train hard." Like, and just the people.
Yeah.
I think like, you know, just life's too fucking short, man. And materialistic things are great, but they do nothing for you. Like if you can drive a Lamborghini or if you can drive a fucking Polo to work, you're still going to get to work, you know? But I've always found that if you can change one person's life, man, one person's life, it's just the most rewarding, ultimately amazing thing you can do.
Yeah.
And like I said, going back to, you know, I want you to do this today. From this studio, as soon as you leave and go out, please do it. Just compliment 5 random people.
Will do.
Random people.
Yeah.
It could be something so small. I love your shoes, man. That's it. That's one. The difference it makes in your day and their day is huge. You know, like I said, that woman in Morrison's, it just, she put her hand on here and she said, "You've just made my whole week."
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if you sit and think about it, think her whole week, this is the highlight of it. And it took me 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So yeah, just looking back at everything I've done, like all I can think to say is my 10-year-old self is so unbelievably proud of who I've become. Because like I said, I can still remember and feel that day when I looked in the mirror saying, this is your chance to become somebody. Well, I have become somebody. I've done it myself. I've worked so fucking hard.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, I feel like now is my time to encourage others to do the same thing. Because we all can change. We all can become happy. It's not about being better or richer or more successful in whatever.
Yeah.
I think ultimately, if you can just be happier in life, that's all that matters. Because I've had fame, I've had money, and both of them led me to misery. And then on the flip side, I've had nothing and also been unbelievably happy. But if you can have both, that's great.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I think just the support on this journey I've had throughout the past 10 years has just been tremendous. I've met some unbelievable people.
Yeah.
I've learned so much. I've done some amazing things. I've met so many just wonderful, wonderful people, and I'm so grateful for that. But yeah, on the flip side, like I said, I've met all my idols. You know, like music idols, bodybuilding idols. I've trained with them. I've lived with them. I lived with Buendia. You know, I've been to. You said I shook hands with Jay Cutler. I didn't mention I've got his WhatsApp, and he texted me when I was in Vegas saying, "Hey, why don't you come to my house and you can stay as long as you want?"
Yeah.
Just having you know, people like that I used to look up to invite me to their house just makes you think, man, like that. How amazing is that feeling?
Yeah.
So
it must be indescribable as well sometimes. To most people, it's unrelatable, but it's like it's possible for people, man.
I mean, of course. I mean, look at me. Look at me when I was a kid, as a teenager. Like, if I can do it, why can't you? The only difference is I actually pulled my fucking finger out and stopped watching football games 10 fucking times a week.
Yeah.
And going to the pint because I'd made small sacrifices that had a huge impact.
Yeah.
So like, I still go out and socialize. I still go and play cards with my dad's friends. And when they're drinking pints, I'll just have water. And they don't say anything. It makes no difference. I'm still having a good time. But that small sacrifice of not having a pint makes my physical appearance, you know, I'm not going to have a pot belly. You know what I mean? So just little small changes can make huge differences.
Yeah.
And like 100%. I said, every single person has time in their day. We do. Because, like I said, going back to this client who said, "Oh, I didn't have time to eat." What did you do all evening? He sat and watched TV.
Yeah.
We all have time.
We'll make time for what we think is a priority. We'll always find time for the things that matter the most. Yeah. So it's, if you change your priorities and think, well, your accountability will help as a coach, but if you just change that priority set in your mind, like if my priority is to get this edited, like you said earlier, it's going to get edited. If my priority is to play video games, I'm going to play video games. Do you know what I mean? It's the priorities that we set. We'll always find time, money, energy for what we care about most.
100%. I think I'm targeting this more to people who genuinely want this, because I noticed, like, when I was younger, I was so hungry to make this happen. I would do anything to make it happen. And I would still play video games and stuff, like on downtime and stuff. But in the, you know, say if I had 6 hours to chill, you know, 3 of those hours was like looking for opportunities, and the other 3 hours was to relax and do what I wanted. Because you can't go full on 100%. You'll burn out.
Yeah.
But if there's anybody watching this now who genuinely wants to achieve something, like whether it's like being a fitness model, a bodybuilder, a businessman, or whatever it is, an acting career, anything, create a podcast. What are you doing to make it happen? Are you doing anything, or are you just hoping it'll happen? That's the difference. So get the fuck up. As soon as this is over, get up and do something now. And that's the first step. And then as soon as that first step happens, you might get an email from somebody. Then from there, and from there, and then from there, it snowballs.
Yeah.
It's always the first step.
Now you've been told, guys, you've either got to go and make your dreams happen, or you've got to do leg day with Zac. It's one or the other. But this one, where can people go to find you? Where can people follow your journey? And where can people go to find your coaching?
So just my Instagram is like my main hub, Zac Aynsley, where I don't actually have a website for coaching. I do everything very personally. I don't like people to think that I have a team of people running my site and emails and stuff, which 99% I would say do at the minute.
Yeah.
So I always just say DM me on Instagram if my DMs don't work for some reason, because sometimes they don't. Comment on one of my like recent posts and, "Hey, I want to be coached by you," and then I will immediately reply. We'll talk about it. You get my WhatsApp, and then I will support you through your whole journey, whether it's weight loss, weight gain, muscle gain, strengthening, strength and conditioning, like whatever your goals are, even if it's like just motivation, like if you don't need a diet plan and training, like fuck it, give me £20 a month, I'll just motivate you. I'll send you music. I'll
shout at you. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, sometimes you just need that fucking support from somebody. You know, I train by myself. God, I wish I had a good training partner sometimes. Like I really do.
Yeah.
And that's where a good coach comes to play. So yeah, if I can help with anything, with your personal needs, that's what I'm there for. It doesn't matter what it is. I've got 10 years experience in this industry. And like I said, so much more out of it. Like working with Wim Hof, I've done 4 years of breathing methods and ice training and cold water therapy, and I know how to control your breathing. I know how to get into cold water, and how to switch your mindset. And, you know, I've experienced fucking depression and anxiety attacks and panic attacks. I know, I mean, my girlfriend's a therapist, so I've got a lot of therapy.
Oh God, right, yeah.
So if you're somebody who's riddled with like mental health issues, I can help with that. I'm just a good support. But it does, you know, primarily revolve around training in the gym, but it's not all about that. So
yeah, man, nice.
Yeah, I just want to help people, man. Just be happy, strong, and healthy. They're the 3 most important things in my life. Is encouraging people to have those 3 things.
Yeah, man.
That's all you need. Yeah.
Well, every time I see you post, I'm always like quick to give it a like, or it's nice to see what you write underneath your post as well. It's not just like, you know, work day smashed, hustle harder. It's like you give detailed explanations. You're not, you know, shying away from the uncomfortable. You talk about things that matter, and exactly. So
you can ask me anything, I'll answer it, man. Like, nothing to hide. But I really appreciate that, mate. Thank you, because I think as well, people chase numbers on social media, like
likes, attention.
Like, oh, if I don't have 10,000 likes, what the fuck? I mean, at the end of the day, if I have 10 likes and 10 people have been affected by man, that's 10 people, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like because how Instagram is now and everything's so visual, like if you're at home and you make a post and 100 people like it, man, that's 100 people. Yeah,
you imagine a stadium. You imagine a big room full of 100 people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So, but people only see the digits on their screen.
Yeah,
they only see the pixels. They forget that each pixel is a human being.
Yeah.
So, man, I really appreciate that comment. Thank you. Like,
no, man,
I forget that, you know, people really can be affected by my post.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I was the skinny kid, you know, and every time I say a post from you or someone in your position who's not afraid to shy away from it or post their progress, it makes me want to push harder and do a bit more. So yeah, but thank you for coming on, mate. I really appreciate your time today as well. And listen, guys, be sure to go and follow Zac on everything. Go check out his coaching. If you are needing to lose weight, if you're skinny like I was, go to Zac. He knows what he's talking about, and he's not full of fluff and bullshit like a lot of other coaches. So
I'm a scammer, man. I fucking hate them.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. He's not going to sell you a crypto course as well on top of it as well.
No crypto courses, no once a week check-ins.
Yeah.
No diet plan. There you go. Go on with it. Like, it's full support.
Yeah, he's gonna be behind you, breaking you back every step of the way. So, listen, guys, thank you very much for listening. And as always, please leave the 5-star review for us if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Music, or if you're watching on YouTube. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, and also check out Zac's YouTube as well. So, thank you very much for listening, guys. I'll see you all in the next episode.
Thank you, mate. 5-star review. Do it.
5 stars.